remember you're not Urban Meyer. What somebody told Dan Mullen yesterday. They were asking him at the weekly press conference why he was smiling, I guess, in the post-game handshake with Mark Stoops. And he's like, well, if you had a camera on me the whole game, you'd see probably some odd stuff. The guy followed up with, well, at least you're not Urban.
It's fair.
Was that not one of the most uncomfortable things you've seen? I mean, it has unraveled so quickly. First of all, the Jaguars are 0-4. Not that that's shocking, but I think they're the only team in the NFL that hasn't scored 21 points in a game or hasn't had more than 21 points. They haven't been very good on the field. And then to see the off the field thing, I mean, this went from Patrick. We talked about a little bit on the video stream yesterday, where I felt like it was just going to be internet stuff. And then he came out and addressed it at his weekly press conference, and it has become more than that. So the question, I think, becomes, is the beginning of the end already there for Urban Meyer, or is he going to be able to survive this terrible PR move and be able to continue being an NFL head coach? Bill, what do you think?
Let's look at the schedule because Urban doesn't handle losing well. They're 0-4. He called last week.
They're staring down a 20-game losing streak, which only two other teams I think have ever done.
Oof. Titans this week at home. Dolphins. I think might be able to clip the Dolphins.
It's actually hilarious. I saw it retweeted. They somehow beat the Colts in Week 1 last year, which was one of the craziest things. And there was a tweet from the Jaguars Twitter page that said it was a video of them just breaking the huddle, like a post-game locker room, and it said the caption was "not satisfied with just one." Oh. I saw a quote that said the Jaguars have lost 19 straight games since this tweet was sent.
Not good. Yeah. So Titans this week, and then they head over to London because apparently we feel like punishing the great people of England by sending the Dolphins.
They're all Jaguars fans now. The Jaguars are there every year, basically.
That's true. Shad Khan, yeah. Yep. What's wrong with me? A road trip to Seattle and then the Buffalo Bills before the Colts host them on November 14th. Oh, boy. I mean, he doesn't handle losing well. The media is not going to help. I don't know. Patrick, does he make it out of season 1?
Well, does he make it at season 1? Probably, but I think the question is he going to get fired or quit? Because it's equally tough on both sides. For him, yeah, he hates losing and he's done this before. But for Shad Khan, it's like, yeah, clearly I made a mistake, but it's almost more embarrassing to fire a guy after his first year, or even worse, in the middle of his first year. So I don't know. Can you, as the Jaguars organization, handle that? Like, don't you kind of just have to ride it out if you're Shad Khan? I mean, you committed so much. I think he's one of the highest paid coaches in the NFL.
I mean, look, when you say you have to ride it out, I mean, if you're in the middle of let's just call it a 26-game losing streak or 25-game losing, I think you're riding it about as well as you can. I mean,
because also, if you firmly don't believe that he's the guy, you got to get out of it quickly, because you've been so bad for the last couple of years that you've saved up all this money and these draft picks, and that's why Urban wanted to go to the Jaguars in the first place. It was going to be a team fully built in his image, because I have all the money in the world to play with, and I've got 1 million draft picks, and I'm going to just pick all my guys. And if it's an absolute disaster, you got to just abort ship as quickly as possible and get someone new in there. Like, get Joe Brady in there right now. If you polled Jacksonville Jaguars fans and said you can fire Urban Meyer today and hire Joe Brady to coach the rest of the season, it's going to be a 99% yes, right?
I would think so. Fortunately, we're going to have he's the only Jaguars fan I've ever met in my whole life. Barry Orr with us today, 7:30 to 8. And he'll break down the Gamecocks, obviously, what we saw over the weekend, but we'll get his take on that, too. Maybe we'll start with the Urban Meyer fiasco that is Jacksonville Jaguars football as we get going this morning. There is Gamecock news from yesterday. Bill, what do you make of Ortre Smith and the news that he's going to enter the transfer?
Yeah, I hate it for him, but unfortunately, that knee injury, he just never came back from it, and I don't know what he's going to go and do. I guess maybe go down a level. I you kind of feel bad for him. He had a pretty solid freshman season. I think he had close to 30 catches if I remember correctly. Um, had a two touchdowns, might have been four. Don't remember the exact stats of his freshman season, but looked like he was going to be a solid receiver for South Carolina. And then gets the knee injury and then opts out last year and just never recovers. Just flat never recovers. They threw that pass to him in the back of the end zone on Saturday afternoon. It was a little behind him. I didn't really blame him for that. That wasn't a pass that I looked at and said, "Oh, well, his knee kept him from catching that." But yeah, that wide receiving room, I think you're going to see some more attrition either as the season goes on or after the season. And I think this is just part of college football. But I really hate it for a guy who had a lot of promise, but had an injury, kind of a non-football injury that appears to have just derailed his career. And
so how much eligibility does he have left, and has he graduated? Do we know this?
He
I assume he graduated, right?
I would assume so. This is his fifth year. He opted out of last year, so I'm guessing
but would have gotten it for free anyway, right?
I'm guessing he would have gotten I don't know how much he necessarily played in 2018, 2019, and I'm guessing technically he could still redshirt. I don't know if he's been in all 4 years. That's a good question, Patrick, because this is the fourth year he's played. I think one of those 2018 was when he actually was injured prior to. So I think he's got an extra year. I believe he's got an extra year.
So it sounds like one would be about as good as he could get here. Maybe two, I guess, if there's some sort of medical redshirt involved. I would think that only one catch this year for 15 yards. So you talked about those stats earlier. You're right on with 30 catches in his freshman year, 3 touchdowns. Sublux knee. I remember he called a sublux knee cap. There was the injury after his freshman season, and I've never seen one that was called a non-contact injury and just kind of a genetic thing, and then players' career really plateauing off there, and it is disappointing for him. And I'm with you on that. You just kind of feel bad for everybody involved here. And you mentioned that receiver position specifically. I think 18 was the number. I think there were 8 wide receivers that the Gamecocks had in spring football. You just can't continue to maintain a number like that on the roster in college football. So you do have to kind of see this coming eventually for not just Ortre Smith, but I would imagine some others. And overall, through 5 games, where do you rate the wide receiver position for Gamecock football this year? It's one that was probably the most talked about, I think, on the football team last year. Most disappointing, least productive. Gene Beamer talked about how that group had consistently performed well, and he was trying to talk them up publicly all preseason, and talked about how they had a chip on the shoulder and a lot to prove. Josh Vann, I think, certainly has proven that he is a much better player. Jalen Brooks been pretty solid, I would say. What do you make of the wide receiver position as a whole this year?
Well, what would you say? You'd say Josh Vann's an A. Would you give Jalen Brooks a B? He's had some drops. Does he get a B?
He's trending up though.
Okay, trending up. We'll give him a B. We'll give maybe a B minus, and the rest of them.
That's just those two.
DeCarrion Joyner's got 11 catches on the season, but he's had some big drops. It feels like, right?
Yeah.
Joyner does have. He's got a touchdown catch against East Carolina. It's nice. He had a catch over the middle the other day that was nice, but he also had a bad drop on 4th and 11. He had a bad drop against Kentucky. He's had a couple of those. If you go through the numbers, Josh Vann's got 16 catches on the year. Brooks and Joyner are both at 11. E.J. Jenkins, by the way, and I read this from John Whittle last night, or maybe it was J.C. Sherbert, that he is practicing at wide receiver strictly. Is not even being considered a tight end right now. So say what you want about that. Jenkins has had 3 catches in the last 2 games for 41 yards and a touchdown. Amarion Brown's kind of the weird one because for some reason it's like they don't want to throw to him down the field. 5 catches for 26 yards. And then you got Trey Atkins or Trey Smith and Rico Powers. Atkins and Smith with each a catch, and Rico Powers with 2. So it's outside of Joyner, Brooks, and Van, who right now have caught 38 passes. The rest is limited, to say the best. Now, I think our Marion Brown could be a guy I'll be interested to hear today if we can get an update on that wrist injury for him. But he's a guy I'm a little confused with because, again, there's college production there, but they don't seem to want to throw him the ball vertically. It's let's just get him the ball on a screen out on the perimeter, and South Carolina's wide receiving blocking is poor, to say the least. So he's not been able to break one there, but throw the ball down the field. So to answer your question, Tim, I'd probably Josh Van and A.
No, not individually. Wide receiver.
But I'm gonna give you my average here. Josh Van and A, Jalen Brooks a B, the rest a C at best. So what is that? That's gonna put him like at a C plus, B minus. But Patrick, they haven't.
Patrick, what kind of scale are you going with, man? I think you have to go on a tremendous curve after last year.
But Patrick, they haven't done anything. I mean, when you say the rest of them, I mean, you probably give Joyner a C. So that puts your average, but the rest of them haven't really done anything bad. They, like you said, they haven't been given opportunities.
But
maybe
Bill, that's not how you grade wide receivers, though. Hey, they were out on the field and they didn't do anything wrong. If you don't make a catch, you're not doing anything, man. Or if you're not,
that's on the quarterback. That's on the quarterback to throw it to him.
Gotta get over. I'll go C plus because Josh Van has been
okay.
I think we could have anticipated. Other than that, I think I'm with you. I mean, the Jalen was tremendous, and I think at least maybe gave some Gamecock fans a flash of.
I've forgotten about that one already.
I really thought we were counting him as a tight end.
I had forgotten about that one already.
You're talking EJ Jenkins as the tight end? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and just sidebar, I always liked the idea of trying to bulk Trey Smith up and move him to tight end as well. It really worked out.
Well, unfortunately, it has ended in a Carolina uniform for Trey Smith, and he'll be moving on in the transfer portal at this point.
Or maybe someone tries to do that with him going forward. I mean, he's got the size.
But Patrick, I wonder with his knee. I
understand that from a blocking perspective. Like maybe he doesn't have the power, but if he's not going to be explosive from the wide receiver position, he's not going to be beating corners consistently. Yeah. What else is there?
It's unfortunate, I think all Gamecock fans are pulling for him. I mean, I think most people realize that this one you don't blame on coaching or you don't blame on scheme or whatever. The poor young man. It was a bad injury. He's done everything you've asked him to. I think you're right, Tim or Patrick. I think he's graduated. You hope he goes somewhere and has a really good senior season and is able to do something there to finish out his career, because there's a lot of promise. You go back to that freshman year, Tim, you mentioned it, 30 catches, 3 touchdowns, looked like a guy that would come in and be a big part of the offense, and unfortunately just derailed by injury.
So, Trey Smith in the transfer portal, the big Gamecock news from yesterday. Today, Shane Beamer will have his weekly press conference. Josh Heupel had his yesterday talking about this Saturday's matchup, where I believe I've seen the line down to 10.5. It opened as Tennessee a 12-point favorite in Knoxville this Saturday at noon. Kickoff time also announced for the Vanderbilt game, 1 week Saturday, 4 o'clock. Bill, you kind of nailed that one. I think you had mentioned the possibility of 3:30. Why does that make you giggle?
I'm becoming such an old man. I was pulling for such a noon game. Like, get in, take the kids, enjoy it. Plus, you got the fairs in town, like people and traffic and cars and it's
you don't have to go. You can do the pregame show and bounce.
Oh, kids, man, kids want to go. I'd say, look, better get them there.
Take them to a high school game on Friday night. They won't know the difference.
No, they do. You'd be surprised. Austin's pretty aware of the difference. He's been around. He's been around. He knows the difference. So we'll be there. It'll be interesting. Might unfortunately be the last time to catch a Gamecock victory too in 2021. So get there. Get your popcorn ready.
Lane Kiffin apologizing for that yesterday, said they apparently forgot to plug in the microwave. Pretty solid line, I thought, at the Ole Miss weekly press conference. You had Dan Mullen being uncomfortable at his after the Kentucky loss. Ed Orgeron mentioning that he is responsible for the program multiple times at the LSU weekly press conference. So a notable day around the SEC.
Should Ed Orgeron just bring up the national championship trophy now to every press conference and just say, "You guys remember when we won this? That was fun, right?" just you know how Saban's got the Coke bottle right there next to on the podium. That's what just Orgeron should just plant it down right there. Like, you guys remember when we won that? That was neat, huh? Don't worry about what we're doing now. Remember that. Just relive the good times.
How is Billy Napier doing this year? I know LSU fans are checking up on that every week.
They're doing all right. That played anybody. Well, they got smoked by Texas there in the opener 38-18. But other than that, they're kind of cruising along.
Let's see, I'm going to check it right now. The Raging Cajuns record, because I haven't even thought about them since that first week of the season.
4-1, 4-1, outscoring opponents 142 to 114. 4-game win streak.
Does it include anybody notable? No, after that first week.
When you say notable,
State, Ohio, Georgia Southern by 8, and who did they just beat?
South Alabama. By the way, let's look at that. Bentley, 19 of 29 for 243. Yeah.
Whoa.
How many picks?
Season.
That was a question.
What'd you ask?
0 picks, 0 touchdowns.
Okay.
And the Louisiana quarterbacks threw for 58 yards. And the Raging Cajuns still somehow managed to win that game. Make sure there were no fumbles involved. Nope, no turnovers at all.
Good.
803-404-6100.
I'm pulling for him.
Love to hear your thoughts.
Sneaky athletic, that Jake Bentley. Sneaky athletic.
Sounds like Bill is still about the same place you were yesterday, talking about Gamecocks coming off of the 23-14 win over Troy and maybe the optimism or lack thereof for the rest of the season. I'm guessing, Patrick, you're probably still in the same place as well. We'll see where the rest of us are as we roll on this morning. And maybe if we get you guys to evolve a little bit.
See what I'm drinking right now?
What are you?
C4 energy drink. Never had one of these before, but I have not slept since yesterday's show. So I'm either going to be cranky or I'm just going to be like, I don't know what this is going to do to me, but I might be way over the top. Not even lubricants, but way over the top.
You turn
like
cranky.
energetic.
If you turn that, because you're cranky on a normal morning. If you turn extra cranky this morning, I may have technical difficulties.
I think we got Perry Orth coming in about an hour or so to steady the ship. Hear his thoughts on what he sees from Luke Doty now. 4 career starts in, 2 last year, just 2 this year. Going for career start number 5 this week at Tennessee. We're just getting rolling on a Tuesday morning. Glad you're a part of the program. It's the early game.
C4. Who makes C4? What brand is that?
C4 is a pre-workout, but they've recently made it into an actual energy drink. C4 is what I always use for pre-workout, and it always made my whole body tingle, and it felt really weird, but always did make me work out harder.
Okay.
Like my
Your
face
body
would be
tingles.
really tingly.
I think that's exactly what you're looking for in a pre-workout drink.
Yeah. I mean, I'd always want to scratch my face, but it wouldn't do anything. I'm going to Google that. Why does C4 make me tingle? Why does
It'd be an interesting.
Beta-alanine does that?
Danny's all in.
Yep, Danny's all in. I'm still just sticking with the black coffee, just straight black coffee right now.
Does this have the same thing?
What are you, 2 or 3 weeks in?
Yeah, it does.
Do what now?
About 2 or 3 weeks back in?
Yeah, about 2 weeks. 2 weeks back in. Ooh. Like some good NBA preseason last night.
Yeah, I saw Steph Curry jumping into a defender and it not called.
Hockey season's right around the corner.
Hockey?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm trying to get tickets when I go out to Vegas. I've got a connection there, and I'm trying to get tickets for that Friday night. I think the Friday night is the Knights and Edmonton, and then Sunday is the Knights and the Devils. So I'm trying to go Friday, but
Maybe I'll ask when more people are on the stream. Has anybody been to a Hurricanes game?
a Hurricanes game?
Yeah.
I've been.
How was it?
It's
Were
fun.
they good? Because they're actually good now.
Yeah, it was like 3 years ago. They weren't. I mean, they were building, but yeah, we went and saw them play Calgary, I think. I'll go back up to show. My sister lives up there, and they get good like little box seats tickets, kind of down behind one of the goals.
That's
They
fun.
get good. They get pretty good seats.
So you want to go to the Caps game this year?
We can do that. Is the schedule out?
Yeah, it actually is out. The first thing I looked for was when they play the Predators in Nashville, and it's not till April, unfortunately.
Oh, speaking of, the Predators play the Hurricanes tonight in some preseason.
Uh-oh.
About that. I think you're right. I feel like I'm due for just a trip to Nashville, just to go to Nashville.
Yeah.
All right. So what opening night is opening night for the Hurricanes? Opening night is the 14th, and they play Nashville. Patrick, they play Nashville October 16th.
The Capitals open up against the Rangers, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that's right. You were talking about the Capitals playing Nashville, not the Hurricanes.
Yeah. But you remember that giant line brawl where the Capitals just like individually beat up every single player on the Rangers?
Of course, I couldn't forget it.
I mean, it was notable. The whole rink dropped the gloves before at like the opening faceoff.
When did that happen?
It was a line brawl. It was one of the last games of the year.
I think I do remember what you're talking about.
Yeah. It was. I mean,
old,
yeah. It was a full-on line brawl. There were, I think, 6 guys in the penalty box at one time. But then the Rangers went out and signed the toughest guy in hockey, Ryan Reeves, who's a terrible player, but he's just a meathead, and he's definitely going to fight Tom Wilson in the first game, and it's going to be electric.
That's how I describe a lot of things. Just electric. Electric.
I mean, 2 of the toughest guys in the league getting after it, game 1.
So Jen, no Gamecock Lucas this morning, huh? First time in a little while.
Yeah, he's on.
Ah,
Yeah, I thought he was right
It's
there.
in the message.
there it is. First message. Didn't even notice. Oh. All right, how can we have Lucas this morning? Is my question.
He was pretty prompt.
He's pretty what?
Prompt.
Prompt?
Prompt.
Prompt.
P-R-O-M-P-T.
Prompt. I thought you were going very young on us and saying crumped or trunked.
Word.
Yeah, is that the
He was
past
very
tense?
crunk.
Can you say crunk?
I thought Jen had been at a little bit too much bar 3 listening to Little John.
Right. Oh,
Getting crunk in the club.
that was brutal yesterday. Holy guacamole. Sometimes I think that the instructors are like, I had a bad weekend. I'm just going to take it out on the people Monday morning.
That was a really not a good Monday night game last night. I tried to watch it. Didn't help that.
Yeah, I give up.
By the way, can we get into that? How does a dome stadium have a lightning delay?
Yeah, I just saw that. I don't understand.
We're about to head back in. Are they metal bleachers?
Morning, LeVar. Yankees, Red Sox tonight.
Yeah. You guys are up.
Troy called us up yesterday. Hot Take Hotline. It's exactly what it's for. And said, how in the world is a Dome having a lightning delay on Monday Night Football?
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened last night. Chargers ended up beating the Raiders 28-14. Hunter Renfrow, South Carolina native, a ridiculous hit on a fake punt. Why he ended up delivering a hit. Also scored a touchdown later on in the ball game. 978-6654, by the way, if you ever want to call the Hot Take Hotline, sponsored by Twin Peaks for the Men Who Never Settle, 803-978-6654, which is exactly what Troy did last night in that weird interim between, 8:20, I think they're supposed to start typically, and 8:50 is when the game ended up starting. I still, did you see an official explanation, Patrick, about this?
No.
The NFL guy?
No, I have no idea.
Did you see on the, was it live stream? Where did somebody just send this in? Oh, yeah, here it is. RL says open air sections in the corners. So I'm not that familiar with this, with SoFi Stadium just yet to be able to say so, but there's open air sections in the corners. Does that mean
They can't close? They can't close.
that's what I was going to
the
ask you. Like,
intersection?
is there a definite, like these are sections that are always open?
It's the most expensive stadium in the world by over $1 billion. Yeah, by over $1 billion, and you can't close the stadium. Come on.
5.5 billion. Is that what it costs?
Yeah, $5.5 billion.
We can't figure out how to keep a dome stadium going during lightning. Yeah, that was odd to say the least. And then Justin Herbert, RL just weighed in as well as a pretty good quarterback. No doubt. I saw something on social media this morning that had him filling out a questionnaire back when he was 9, asking what he wanted to be. And he said a professional football player, and boom, there he is. Also, a lot of Dolphins fans, I think, out there on social media just woe is mean that they took Tua Tagovailoa over Justin Herbert at this point. And then
Yeah, some Washington football fans are also upset by that.
there he is. I mean,
Love Chase Young, but he doesn't have a sack yet, and we need a quarterback. So, I mean, maybe we don't. Maybe Heineke's the guy. Maybe.
You guys think Justin Herbert is set up for success for the long haul at this point?
Oh yeah.
This 15-year-old coach they've got. I'm starting to think Brandon Staley.
Yeah. Yep.
Like he's 38. I realize he's not, but every time I see him on the sidelines, I mean, I guess now I'm getting to that point, Tim, where he's younger than I am, and that bothers me in some way. I'm hitting the point in my life where
But he's still older than Sean McVay, right?
What is McVay, 36, 35?
I don't know. Maybe he's 38 now. Maybe he got hired when he was 35, and it has been a couple of years. So,
But
go ahead, Bill. I understand your old man approach to this thing, though. I get it.
McVay's 35. To answer, he'll be 36 in January. I mean, it's just it's kind of this guy Brandon Staley is kind of the new age type coach, right, guys? I mean, he comes out of a young guy, offensive minded, has come in and kind of
not offensive. Like
you're right. He's a defensive coordinator guy.
Yeah, but he played quarterback and always coached on the offensive side of the ball and built his entire defensive identity around the fact that he had always been an offensive coach, and came in there in 1 year and made the Rams the #1 defense in the league. And everyone, I've heard him talk in some podcasts like long form, and just I guess any NFL coach that really starts talking ball like that is going to blow me away. But when I listened to that, I was like, oh my goodness, this guy's a freaking genius.
If you guys looked, I'm looking at his coaching career history. I'm going to read it to you because there's no point in trying to explain it and ask a weird question. He played at Dayton. He was quarterback, as Patrick said, in 2003 and 2004. Pretty good record, 16-5 as a starting quarterback at Dayton. Then became a graduate assistant at Northern Illinois for 2 years. Spent a year as a defensive line coach, special teams coach at St. Thomas. Doesn't tell me if that's a high school or a college. He then went to Hutchinson for 2 years as an associate head coach, defensive coordinator.
that
Tennessee.
College?
Yes.
Community college?
Tennessee in 2012 as a graduate assistant. Then he was at John Carroll. So he basically was coaching for a
John
bunch
Carroll
of.
is an NFL factory, like out of nowhere.
Is it?
Yeah, apparently,
Okay.
like if you look at the list of NFL coaching alumni who have coached at John Carroll.
Coaching factory.
Yeah, NFL coaching factory. Yeah, it's crazy.
He was
That sounds right.
Yeah, defensive coordinator, secondary coach at John Carroll for 1 year. Then he went to James Madison for a year in 2014 as a defensive coordinator, linebackers coach. Went back to John Carroll from 2015, 2016 as coordinator, defensive coordinator, secondary coach. Then he was with the Bears for 2 years as outside linebacker coach, the Broncos as outside linebacker coach, and the Rams for 1 year last year for 2020 as defensive coordinator, and is now the Chargers head coach.
So he went from the Bears to the Broncos because Vic Fangio, who's widely considered to be one of if not the best defensive mind in the NFL. I guess Bill Belichick has something to say about that, but yeah, Fangio took him under his wing in Chicago the first year, and Staley just impressed him so much that as soon as Fangio got the head coaching job in Denver, he said, "Come with me," and he just his rise was meteoric from there, basically.
It really is kind of crazy. I mean, you're right. I thought he was kind of out of the. I haven't really paid attention to him. Last night was the first time I've really watched the Rams, and as I was saying on the live stream, it started late because of the lightning delay, and then it was 7-0 midway through the second quarter. It wasn't really a thrilling game to watch, but to me, he is an interesting story, and is kind of a new. You're seeing all these new coaches instead of some of the retreads. For the longest time, it felt like Norton. Yeah, for the longest time, it felt like a guy like Norv Turner was just going to get a job every year, right?
Exactly.
So.
From your standpoint, I'm guessing that you're a little jealous because Ron Rivera is kind of a great example of retread right now in the NFL, and as opposed to what the Chargers are doing.
Yes, but not even Ron Rivera. It's like our defense is horrific right now, and it's Jack Del Rio as the defensive coordinator, so it's another old head. And that's what always bothers me about defensive coordinators in the NFL and the way the NFL has been going. Like, everyone is hiring these young, innovative offensive minds, but then just hiring the old head defensive minds who say we're going to be tough and whatever. Like, they don't innovate on the defensive side of the ball. And Brandon Staley is one of those guys that just out of nowhere was really creative on the defensive side of the ball and was destroying everyone last year. The Rams were absolutely dominant last year on the defensive side of the ball.
I like the fact that the Lane Kiffin hire for the Raiders back in the day was odd for multiple reasons. I never liked any kind of nepotism young hire like that, right? When your dad's already in the league, you haven't necessarily proven anything on your own. Obviously, Lane Kiffin is a good offensive coach and a smart guy and the whole thing. Get all that. Clearly, that was a disaster. It might have taken since then, which is what, 10-ish years ago, maybe more than that now, for the NFL to get back to even trying that. Sean McVay obviously proving to be a tremendous hire, and now kind of everybody who's touched him is seen to have like the Midas touch, and that's where the NFL is. It's such a copycat league, but at least we're getting some new personalities, new styles. How sustainable it remains to be seen. How sustainable success can be for some of these guys. It's going to be interesting to watch, though, and I just like watching younger guys get a chance and prove that you don't have to be a certain age or have a certain experience. Like Russell apparently is going to be our D3 correspondent here on the text line. Says John Carroll is indeed a Division III school in Ohio, same conference as Mount Union there, the Ohio Athletic Conference.
Okay.
Don Shula, famous alumnus out of John Carroll. Thank you for the info there on that one, Russell. We need to get out the Love Chevy phone lines too, by the way. Our buddy Lucas has been waiting very patiently to weigh in this morning on Gamecock football. Good morning, Lucas. How are you, sir?
Good morning. How are you?
We're doing good, man. What about you? Is your brothers, are they up and moving? Are they getting ready for school yet, or is it going to be a problem this morning?
No, they're still sleeping.
Slackers. Absolute slackers. So,
Yeah.
what's on your mind early this morning, sir?
I think whenever we play the bigger teams, maybe, hopefully we could get our, mind into it. we could start playing better. We could start thinking about the plays more. We could try and execute these plays better. But I don't know if it's just that Troy is underestimated or something that we didn't play as well this weekend, or if we're just not capable of being. Well, we're capable, but if we just don't want to put in the work to be able to play, like very good, where we could beat these Troy teams by, 10, 20, 30 points, like these other teams are. So we just got to put our head into the game and execute these plays, and we should be good against Tennessee.
What do you want to see exactly, Lucas, from the Gamecocks against Tennessee?
I don't really expect us to win, judging off how we played this weekend, but it's still a win. But if we were to win, it would be by 3. And if we were to lose, it'd be by 7.
Okay. Gamecock Lucas really becoming a professional
All right.
at this. Anthony says on the YouTube live stream, internship? ? Well, we'll see what we can do. Unfortunately, the old internship program got canceled not too long ago. Lucas, hope you have a good day, sir. Good luck at school. Good luck at getting your brothers up. We'll keep it rolling on the Love Chevy phone line. Scott, good luck following Lucas this morning, sir.
Yeah, I don't know that I can compete with that. He's pretty solid there, man. Good morning to y'all. The AP poll I'll save for another day, but I do want to throw something out there. To this point of the season, there's one person that continues to stick out to me, and it's a shame because nobody's really spoke about this in the Heisman Trophy race. I've continued to hear Carroll and obviously Young, but there's no better football player right now. And he should be the number 1 pick in the draft, in my opinion, because I haven't seen an interior lineman do what he's done in the college ranks, maybe a Warren Sapp in the NFL. But Davis at Georgia is proven to be an absolute beast. And then him going in and hit 3 people as a fullback, hopefully that will give him some light. But what do you guys think? Is there a better college football player right now to this point in the season than Davis at Georgia? And is he, or should he be looked at for that Heisman Trophy?
Patrick, it looked like you might have had the strong
It's a
reaction.
very
to
hot
that
take
from Scott.
I mean, the most Jordan Davis is awesome. He should be a first-round pick. He stuffs the run like crazy. He can get after the passer, but I don't even know that he's the best defensive player on his team. Nakobe Dean is insane. But yeah, no, it's a stretch to say he's the best interior lineman since Warren Sapp. I mean, there've been a lot of good ones. Derek Brown,
I'm just looking.
the top 10 pick for the Panthers a couple years ago, was pretty dominant as well.
The interesting take there that I kind of agree with is who is like Matt Corral, basically, according to Vegas Insider. This is the updated odds after this past weekend, is still second, and it's not even close. He is plus 250 right now. Bryce Young is the leader at plus 125, and then C.J. Stroud is behind them at plus 1,600. Again, this was updated October 3rd, so after this
C.J.
past
Stroud
weekend,
isn't even going to be the Ohio State quarterback at the end of the year, so that's wild.
well, that's what I'm telling you. And to Scott's point about Jordan Davis, we can debate defensive players. It is kind of interesting. Like, it's a bad Heisman race this year, right?
Yes,
like, it feels like the only reason Bryce Young is being mentioned is because you could plug, H.R. Puffin stuff in as the Alabama quarterback, and he would be the leader right now for the Heisman, right?
Yes.
But we're
Because honestly, the best unit in college football. But yeah, what I'm thinking back to, like, what were the most contentious Heisman races recently, and I'm going right to Tua versus Kyler Murray.
Okay.
Was there a closer one than that in the last 5 or so years? I feel like Joe Burrow won it by a landslide.
Lamar Jackson was pretty
what
close,
else?
I think. Deshaun Watson back in the day.
Yeah, true. So yeah, both of those guys, or all 4 of those guys, the 2 winners and the 2 runners up, were better than what were. Going to be Evan tree, but you can't just say, you can't just say Jordan Davis is the reason the Georgia defense is that good. I mean, everybody on the Georgia them are also monsters, and all of their linebackers are freak athletes. Like there's not one engine that makes the Georgia defense go. So I don't know how you could go that direction.
I think the idea that Scott brought up of an interior lineman actually even being in consideration for the Heisman Trophy is an interesting one. We'll continue to discuss when we come right back. 803-404-6100 is the number. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Might not be doing the jump in your pool with a cannonball or a beautiful dive anymore. That doesn't mean you stop maintaining your pool. Matter of fact, a lot of you probably have a nice setup out back. Maybe you've got a fire pit, you got a little area to enjoy sitting out during the fall, maybe on Thanksgiving or Christmas, and using that pool as kind of a great place for the family to gather, not in it during the winter, but around the pool, enjoy the television. Again, maybe you've got a Thanksgiving party or a Christmas party that you're going to have, and use that as a little ambiance. So keep maintaining that pool. It's actually more affordable to keep doing that than to start all over come February or March and have to pay extra for chemicals to get that thing right. Call Corley Pool Solutions today to keep on maintaining that pool even during the winter months. 803-445-8109. You heard me say it, and it's true. It's more affordable just for 3 or 4 months to continue maintaining it, keeping it in great shape so that when it's time to jump in the pool, you won't need to do a little bit of extra. And with Corley Pool Solutions, they can do it with flat rate pricing, including all the chemicals. 803-445-8109. Over 20 years of experience in the business. Tracy Corley and his team know exactly how to keep that pool maintained and beautiful. So when you've got that Thanksgiving dinner that you're going to deep fry the turkey out around the pool, or that Christmas party this year, it'll still look beautiful. 803-445-8109. That's Corley Pool Solutions. That's right, Craig. The list goes on and on and on. On and on and on.
Well, Todd, the Alabama fan, always predictable there on the text line.
Oh, I was looking at the weather. I was trying to see what the weather was going to be. I think the kids want some grilled salmon tonight. Oh, calling for rain.
Isn't that the whole week?
It did not rain last night because I was out at soccer. So
Yeah. We got in kind of a pop-up short. Yeah, more of a chance now through Thursday.
yeah,
50%
Patrick,
chance
you're right.
each day.
Yeah, 61. Looks like Thursday's definitely going to be a rainy day. What's our Thursday night game this week? We got at least Virginia, Miami was decent last week. What's our Thursday night football contest? Oh, little Coastal Carolina at Arkansas State.
I like that one ranked team.
I thought you were talking about the NFL.
No, I was not talking about the NFL. Oh, Arkansas State is a whopping 1-4 and just gave up 59 points to Georgia Southern.
So what's the NFL game?
That's pretty much what Houston and Tulane is also an option there if you're. What is the NFL game? Your NFL game is. It is crazy that it's week 5 of the NFL. We're just flying by.
Yep.
Let's see, week 5. Oh, Rams and Seahawks, Patrick. So there's your Thursday night viewing.
That gets me fired up.
Good. That put you in a better mood, better than the C4?
No,
No.
because I won't be able to watch it.
Travis is there with you. Hang in there, Travis.
We got Sunday night football is the Bills and the Chiefs, and Monday night next week is Colts Ravens.
Bills Chiefs is going to be an awesome game. I'm pretty sure neither punter attempted a punt in the Chiefs Eagles game.
Travis, what student holiday are you talking about? My kids are in school. They get out early tomorrow. I probably should remember to go pick them up. I want to make a note of that.
Yeah, you don't want to do what I did one time when Megan was little. Dropped her off at school. It's like, man, we're never here early enough where there's not a lot of people. Yeah, it was a holiday. Yeah, got the call from the school.
You let her walk into the school on a holiday and drove off?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, there were cars there. It was like a teacher workshop day.
But there was nobody in the line? There was nobody? You saw nobody else in the line dropping their kids off and you thought this was normal?
Well, because there were days that we would run like late. So I thought, well, everybody's like really
Wait, no. I'm sorry. The days that you run late and there's nobody else there dropping their kids off is the day you have to walk your child into the school to sign them in. You're so late.
No, I don't know.
We were mildly late yesterday. We were there right when the bell was ringing, and there was still a load of cars doing the same thing we were doing. Nobody was dropping their kid off with no cars in the line and no teachers out front accepting kids, helping them get into the school.
Correct. I just,
Would you pin a map on her shoulder and just be like, here, follow this to your class?
Yeah, I don't know. Nothing was alerting me. I just come back from being out of town, and yeah, I don't know.
What were you, like the Bert Kreischer of mothers? You
Probably
wake up for the PTA meeting, you grab what you assume to be 2 Diet Pepsis and take them. You've seen that bit, right? Have you seen that bit?
No, I think I need to though.
He says he had been out partying all night. He says he gets up, he's got to go to a PTA meeting, chugs a cup of coffee, grabs 2 Diet Pepsis, takes them to the parent-teacher, 8 a.m. meeting, pulls the first one out of his pocket, opens it up, takes a sip. It's a Coors Light.
Oh, no. Probably what I should have done that morning.
He said, what did he say? He said some things that I probably couldn't say. He goes, that's a moment right there. And he goes, so I crushed the Coors Light. Now I'm hoping the second can is a Coors Light because a Diet Pepsi is going to be a real letdown at this point. Kreischer's in Augusta on Thursday.
Wow.
Yo, tell us how it is, man.
Yeah.
All right, about to head back in.
I just picture National Lampoons showing up to Wally World with nobody in the parking lot and parking at the end. So they go to the first
making a movie about his machine story.
Are they?
Yeah. I don't know who's in it.
So he will have 2 movies made about his life, basically?
Not really, but yes.
That's question about Jordan Davis and Heisman Trophy hype got me thinking about just the possibility of someone other than a quarterback getting in contention, and the idea you mentioned Jordan Davis coming in a goal line package for Georgia last week and taking out 3 Arkansas defenders. You guys see that? I think they broke it down on College Football Final, or I'm sure it was all over ESPN.
It wasn't Jordan Davis, though.
Sure?
Yeah, it was Jalen Carter. It was number 88. I remember the big number 88.
Okay, I'll double check that, but that reminds me of old Refrigerator Perry back in the day of the Bears and doing that. And speaking of that, there's a good article about the former Clemson standout Fridge there on The Athletic, kind of an oral history of his early time at Clemson. So you double check that.
Confirmed, yeah, confirmed. It was Jalen Carter. Yeah, backup defensive tackle for them.
Like that's a kind of move that you need to make to get your defensive line some extra conversation. I think it just shows you what impact Jordan Davis has had defensively that Scott even got that confused, right? That he has been so good and been talked about in so many ways, and especially with Shane Beamer from the Gamecock perspective, talked about going on his 4 and 5-star rant kind of thing based off of Jordan Davis and the Georgia
30.
defense. An example of it is a different year, Bill. I don't think we can go ahead and chalk it up to a bad year. Or are you guys going to do that this morning as well?
No.
Yes,
No.
we did,
No.
Patrick. It was-
Yeah.
It's a great year because of it.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
Glad we're not
Everybody-
gonna go down that path.
everybody's taking a
Everybody's
step
just
backwards.
worse this year.
Yeah, everybody's taking a step backwards per Patrick.
We can do a stock report on every team in the SEC. I'll give you a gut answer, up or down.
Oh, yeah, I bet you
Wait
will.
for that. You guys, 702 stock report, SEC.
There we go.
Home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. TFM.
All right, more coffee time. That's pretty out there. Enjoy that.
It is pretty.
It is.
Yeah, I was just going to mention it. Get our faces off of here and just pick up the sun. I'll pause for we'll take a 60-second break.
Feels nice. Nice little crisp fall morning. Everybody just disappeared.
Oh, extended sunrise break there.
Oh,
RL's got you on Kentucky, Tennessee, and Arkansas. Stock report coming up.
I don't really know how to do buy, hold, or sell.
So
You buy, hold, or sell. You know how to give a stock report, but you don't know how to do buy, hold, or sell?
I was just gonna say up or down. Because hold, don't you have to factor in the price you bought it at?
right. So didn't you wrote down our season total over unders, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you bust that thing out? And that's kind of the stock price, right? Then we can tell what you were thinking earlier. If you went over, then you were obviously buying that stock at the beginning of the season. If you went under, we're selling. And you can go off of that. There?
That's fair. We were all dead wrong on a couple teams.
5 games in. I got a chance.
All right, 3 breaks to sour. I'll type them in.
You guys remember Perry at 7:30. So
Yep.
be relatively on time here.
Ezra.
Now it's Bill who is the semi-financial analyst. I think you've gotten out of that kick, right? You're not watching the stock reports here in the last.
No, I
few days.
still watch it. Not as much in the morning, but I still keep up with a lot of it.
My penny stocks are tanking, so
Oof. And yeah,
Your
whole
penny stocks?
NBA
Is that
was
what you
the
said?
yeah.
top shot thing that was going on.
Oh, I'm still holding strong on there. I actually every once in a while forget that I have them, and then I get an email from Top Shot telling me to buy more.
How's that working out?
Era.
I never even logged back into it. It's been a while. I just keep losing money on my penny stocks. My hearing aid company is not doing well.
What?
Aerotime not making it for you. 2 brothers out of Dubuque. Aerotime not working out quite like we thought.
Interscope Hearing Technologies not doing well.
You guys are Jed there. Well done, Jed. I heard that.
Yeah.
803-404-6100 if you would like to weigh in on the program. We start hour number 2, brand new segment, combining fake financial analysis plus probably fake football takes as well. SEC stock report. Let's start with Tennessee, Patrick. The Gamecocks opponent. Where are you going?
Stock down. But just in general, like from when? Last year? You said to break out the win totals. So let's take a peek at this.
Restart this SEC stock.
Can I have an opening statement? Can I have an opening statement though?
You can, but hold on.
Wait,
Three options we're looking for in the SEC stock report: buy, sell, or hold.
Okay.
Your opening statement. I don't know why you need it.
Because here's how it pertains to the Gamecocks.
He's confusing this segment with the Friday Lawyer League.
I'm going to start it with a hot take. Okay, so this got brought up because we were talking about South Carolina. We're optimistic, not because South Carolina is better than we expected, but because other teams are down. South Carolina has 3 teams in the SEC that are up on their schedule, and they've already played 2 of them. The only team that's stock up left on the schedule is Auburn.
Stock up is not a term, right, Bill? I mean, I don't watch the financial.
Trending up. They're trending up. They're better than expected. They're on the rise. Because we're saying, like, this is a down year for Clemson, right?
Correct.
So that's kind of what I mean by that. Like, it's a down year for A&M. It's a down year for LSU.
Concerns
It's a great
me
year for
using these
Arkansas.
terms while also waving around a piece of paper like you know what
These
you're
are
saying.
these
on
were
live
picks. Tim
stream.
said to break out the over-unders.
Okay.
Just because you were complaining that you didn't know what you're comparing it to. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, just go for
Yeah,
it. Give me
okay.
the season.
Tennessee, sell. They were 6.5 win total. I still don't think they're going to win 7 games. Sell.
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear why, because most people around the country right now are slurping Tennessee. And Josh Heupel, would you guys see what Trent Dilfer had to say, for
Yeah,
instance?
he's angry for a
He
job.
lives in Tennessee. He's a bootlicker.
He does live in them. It's a job.
Patrick hasn't slept since yesterday's show.
Keep that in mind.
So we probably shouldn't have even dared to go this way.
Why are we so high? Why are people so high on Tennessee? Because they ran for 450 yards
Because of last
against
week.
Missouri, right? Yeah,
Tennessee's
exactly.
3-2. Tennessee's 3-2 on the season.
Overreaction.
Tennessee's
They lost to
3-2 on
Pittsburgh
the
at
season.
home.
Look, hold on. Look, Tennessee's 3-2 on the season. They've beaten a really bad Bowling Green team, who also beat Minnesota. Tennessee Tech 56-0, and they've exploded against Missouri. They've got the 2 losses: the one to Pittsburgh by 7, and the 24-point loss to Florida, which they were in it for a little while. Then Florida pulled away.
Yeah. Well, here's a preview. I'm selling Missouri too. They can't stop the run, no matter who they're playing against.
I wouldn't think if you're selling Tennessee that you would be real high on the team that just gave up 62 points to them.
Correct. Yes.
I need to hear more on Tennessee, sir. Everybody is interested in their stock. There are a lot of people saying the exact opposite as you. Why is it your contention that Tennessee stock it should be sold right now? You're down on Tennessee after the big win.
Well, yeah. I mean, I just think Tennessee won. They won one football game that impressed people, but they still have started 2 quarterbacks already. I don't know that Hendon Hooker is just going to be consistent for the rest of the year. They lost half of their team to transfers, and they haven't even played the difficult part of their schedule yet. Once they play South Carolina, they're going to play Ole Miss, Alabama, Kentucky, and Georgia in a row. They're going to lose those 4 games 250 to 14 if they're lucky combined.
If you're a Tennessee fan, it's a rough morning for you listening to Patrick.
Anything about Hendon Hooker taking over now as QB1?
I think he's better than Joe Milton, but he's still like average. They're just average. They're just an average team. I think South Carolina's going to go in there and beat them.
How does an average team score 62 points in an SEC road game?
Because Missouri's defensive line is we use the Dutch Fork comparison, but I think Dutch Fork would run for 200 yards against Missouri's defensive line.
Oh, okay.
All right, Bill, where do you want to go next in this fascinating SEC stock report?
I think you got to go to Arkansas. Arkansas, everybody was in, but last week was an eye opener. Are you still in on the Arkansas stock, or are you now selling? Has the shine worn off after a 37-0 beating at the hands of Georgia? Are you still in on this story? By the way, did you see the SEC short yesterday with Alabama and Georgia having to be in the principal's office?
It's fantastic. If you haven't seen it, check it out. SEC shorts.
All right, so what do you got on Arkansas?
Well, Arkansas is the one we probably got the most wrong because their win total was 5.5, and we all went under on that.
Right.
And they've already got 4 wins. I mean, their schedule is so brutal. But I guess it's not saying a lot to say that they're better. They're better than 37-0 to Georgia. They're better than that result showed.
Are they?
I'm still buying them. I mean, yeah, they beat Texas and they beat Texas A&M. That's enough.
Okay, but Texas A&M looks really bad right now.
Correct.
They've got Arkansas. Arkansas has Mississippi this coming weekend. They got to travel down to Kiffinville to take on Mississippi, and then they'll follow that up with Auburn back-to-back weeks against ranked teams. Auburn looking a little bit better than I anticipated them to. Mississippi at home. I think that's this weekend. That's a noon game, by the way, for those interested. You can flip back and forth. Patrick, you can follow the Patrick Prep model of 3 TVs and a laptop to get all your television watching in. That one is actually a very interesting one this weekend. Just real quick, the point spread on that is, because now I'm kind of interested. You guys want to take guesses before I get to it real quick on what the you'd figure Mississippi at home is favored, right?
Yeah,
I would for sure. I would think by 6.5.
I can get on board with that.
Look at Vegas Hill over there. Perfect number. Mississippi a touchdown, a 6.5 point favorite, over under set there at 66 to 67, depending on which you view that. So you're buying in on Arkansas?
I'm buying Arkansas stock. That's not saying a lot when they're expected to win 5.5 games. Arkansas is up this year. It's very simple. Arkansas is better than everyone expected them to be. Texas A&M's worse than everyone expected them to be.
I do agree with you there. We would not have picked Arkansas to beat Texas or Texas A&M in the preseason. You would have had them sitting right now with 2-3. So I'm with you on that. I can get on board with that analysis, Tim. I'm on board
Did
with
we
it.
all say under only 5.5 for Arkansas?
Yes.
All three of us did.
All of
Okay.
us.
They have Arkansas Pine Bluff left, and then it's all SEC games. And it starts Ole Miss, then it's Auburn. Go down the list here. If you're just trying to do the math, they got Mississippi State at home after Arkansas Pine Bluff, at LSU, at Alabama, and Missouri at home.
Yeah.
Looks like they're
They'll-
going to go over relatively easy there. But again, we're 5 games in. College football's a little crazy. All right. Where you want to go next, Bill? Who else you got?
I think Kentucky's the easy one, but let's go Florida. Let's go Florida and see where you feel after that one, because I think 3 weeks ago we were all in love with Florida. They played Alabama to within 2 points. They were averaging 343 yards rushing per game, and now I didn't listen to it, Tim, but you said the Dan Mullen press conference was one of entertainment yesterday, in which Mullen is getting
Usually awkwardness, and then when somebody drops their editorial comment on it. Well, at least you're not Urban Meyer being caught on camera. That's always notable, I would say.
So what are you doing? Because I think Florida might be the most interesting one, Patrick, when you look at the next few weeks for them.
I'm selling Florida. Scheduled, I mean, they're going to lose 2 of their next 3, I think. They're going to be in Death Valley, and then they play Georgia, and that will already be their under for the 9.5. What did I pick? I picked under 9.5. We all picked under 9.5 for Florida. We all thought they were overvalued in the marketplace before the season.
So we're on track.
I think we were all right on
agreeing
that
there.
one, yeah.
Okay, so if you're doing that, does that mean you're buying LSU right now, even though Ed Orgeron yesterday has to say multiple times, I'm responsible for the program and everything? You're higher on LSU right now than a lot of folks?
No, I was. I picked them. They were 8.5, and I picked their over. I thought they were going to be 6-0 before the season really got rolling, and that is already out the window. They were sold the minute they lost to UCLA, and Ed Orgeron started talking about that sissy blue shirt and embarrassed himself. I'm selling LSU. I'm selling Ed Orgeron.
You talk about a schedule. So 5 straight now. I guess you count 6. They just played a ranked Auburn team, right? And now they have 5 more ranked opponents. I guess that's all 6 of the SEC ranked opponents in a row.
Yeah.
At Kentucky this week, Florida, Ole Miss, Alabama, Arkansas, up for LSU. Good luck. We'll continue this fascinating SEC stock report as we roll on this morning. I'm interested in hearing the South Carolina take, and we have a texter out there who's already interested in putting some money down on your hot take that the Gamecocks will beat Tennessee this weekend. 803-404-6100. If you would like to join, it's the early game. We got Perry Orth, the former Gamecock quarterback, joining us in 15 minutes here on 107.5.
This is South Carolina head women's basketball coach Dawn Staley, and you're.
Sorry about the volume on my mic, guys. I turned it all the way up. There was some kind of automatic update on the computer that has jacked it up. So I've got it turned all the way up. And I got to go somewhere deep in the settings to get it even.
Right. We got Tommy 2 times texting in. How much do you want to put on that? How much money do you want to put on that? Do you want to put on that?
Isn't he a South Carolina fan too?
I don't know. You can go back through the text messages.
The text before was Tennessee is going to rock us.
Yeah, definitely a South Carolina fan.
I did find out that Bad Text Guy, the guy named Bad Text Guy, that Bill found his name, works at the same place as me.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
wow.
He's the union rep.
Interesting.
Or one of.
He's calmed down since we got his name. He calmed it down a lot, didn't he?
A little bit, yeah.
See if that helps the mic that I got here. Nope. I think it's just gonna.
You actually probably know several of those guys that I know. Then I didn't think about that.
What about now? Is that?
Well, I don't necessarily know them. I just saw his name on a list. I was like, oh, wait, why do I know that name? And then I said, oh, that's why I know that name.
Check. Thing just stinks today, huh?
You're quieter on the computer, huh?
And I turned the mic up. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Now that I got the mic turned all the way up, it's really not going to work.
Whoa, that was good.
Is it going to stay up there? Yeah. I just got
You have to yell.
What?
That's fun. Fun stuff. It automatically adjusts mic. Does that help? No, it does not.
You're way down. What happened?
Yeah, I can't hear him as well. I thought maybe it was just me.
Not just you guys. Just my fun computer this morning.
The 1-year-old's been playing with the computer.
No, we let him tear up the other ones. Troubleshoot sound problem.
Yankees Red Sox tonight. Is there what's the So we got Yankees Red Sox tonight, Cardinals Dodgers on Wednesday. And then everything really gets going Thursday. And the Braves get going Friday. Did we really see Justin Herbert being this good?
No. No way.
I didn't think we were on that. Yeah, I didn't think Justin Herbert was. Oh.
I did want Washington to draft him, but I also wanted them to draft Tua. Tua stinks. Not as bad as Jacoby Brissett, though. He's awful.
I don't know if this is the time to have the conversation, but is Jared Cook the most surprising South Carolina NFL career in the last 30 years?
I think we've had that conversation before.
Have we?
And maybe.
Surprising.
Like Marcus Robinson had to be up there. Marcus Robinson is the one that's still
on the positive end.
Yeah, the one like you watched in college and they go on to have an NFL, like a massive NFL career, and you're like, huh. Didn't really see that.
Jadae McCowney is pretty surprising.
No, on the positive end.
Did we expect Debo to be this good this quickly?
Well, but I mean, part of it is longevity. Like Jared Cook's Jared Cook's been in the league, what, 10 years, Tim? Is that right? 11?
Crazy, yep. Somewhere in there. Maybe not.
How many teams has he played for? 4?
Let's see. Titans, Chargers, Saints,
Packers.
5.
What else we got?
I feel like there's going to be a 5th.
That was 5. Rams.
Did he get a stint with the? Did you say the Raiders?
Good call, RL.
He did put the Raiders. Yeah, that's 6. Good call. 6 teams already.
Damiere Byrd. Okay.
Right to back in.
I'm gonna keep scanning.
Tyson Williams, just by virtue of being in the NFL.
That's.
Tyson. About Herbert's good game last night for the San Diego Chargers and
Los Angeles Chargers.
Sorry, I'm old. It was the San Diego Chargers against the Oakland, or actually the LA Raiders.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then you got LA Chargers, Vegas Raiders.
Well, Did you-
Stadium with a lightning delay.
But you also caught that the beginning, like the fans there were still Raiders fans, and they were talking about that, where they were having the home team was having to use a silent count because the home fans were basically against them. They were still rooting for their older team. It's kind of crazy.
Steve Young was talking about that as they were filling time in the lightning delay at a dome stadium, which apparently there's some open air areas, I guess is why technically they had to do that yesterday. And you mentioned back when the Tampa Bay Bucks were terrible and he first started his career that he was getting booed at home by the home crowd there in Tampa that wasn't so friendly. And talking about Justin Herbert, how good he looked last night. If you guys have not seen the Hunter Renfrow hit on the fake punt that the Chargers ran, go check that out on social media. Fantastic. Also, he had a touchdown catch a little bit later on. The former Stockton High School standout. Had a pretty good game for the Chargers. Final score, I think, less indicative of how the Chargers kind of dominated that game. And that brought up Jared Cook. Got the second touchdown, I think, of the ball game. Herbert. And we're trying to figure out exactly how many teams he played for. We got to confirm now. 6 is run in the NFL.
We didn't confirm it. We named 6. We rattled off 6 pretty quickly. Maybe there's a number 7 there. I'll look.
Bill brought up is that one of the best careers that a Gamecock has had, surprisingly, a little bit surprisingly, and not having a dominant college career. Marcus Robinson, you brought up, Bill, is a classic example, kind of four back of our generation from a couple of decades ago. A guy who didn't do a whole lot in college and went on for picking up the stats. More than 100 games in the NFL, right at 4,700 receiving yards, 325 catches, 43 career touchdowns. Kind of mind-blowing back in the day. And then somebody else brought up Demir Bird, RL, on the YouTube live stream. Demir Bird is a great example of a guy who didn't necessarily star for the Gamecocks, but has gone on to a really good NFL career. I'll go with Demir Bird here over Jared Cook because Cook was, I think, highly thought of as a prospect. And you see it in tight ends relatively frequently. I feel like where in college football they might not necessarily thrive as much as being a system in the NFL, but you can't really go wrong with either one of those guys. Plays better in the NFL.
It's interesting because I mean Cook was a guy that I think had a ton of potential. He started 15 of 36 games for South Carolina. His numbers are actually kind of, I didn't realize this. You want to take a guess, Tim? Patrick's well before your time. You want to take just a general guess of how many receptions Jared Cook had in 3 years?
3 years at South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
That would say, okay. I never forget Steve's career referred to him as Little T.O. during his redshirt year. So technically he was at Carolina for 4 years and only played 3 years.
Okay.
I think he ended up with about 50-ish his last year. Might be high for somebody else. It's not much more. I'll go 70.
Very good. 73 for over 1,000 yards in 7 touchdowns. I just, with Cook, the only reason I say surprising, not because just the longevity of the career. And you guys are right. 6 teams is what he's played for. He was the 3rd round draft pick in 2009. Again, the Titans, the Rams, the Packers, the Raiders, the Saints, and now the Chargers. He's made the Pro Bowl twice. His NFL career statistics, 505 receptions, 600. I don't know if this is up to date. This was as of the end of 2020, so not up to date with this year. But going into this year, 505 receptions, 6,673 yards, and 41 touchdowns. I mean, again, very productive NFL career. When you look at it, I just a solid college career, but did he have the college career that led you to believe that this would be the NFL career for Jared Cook, who, I don't know what his affiliation with the university is. I don't know, it didn't end very well with he at South Carolina. I think the Clemson game, the Dabo game, the Dabo was the interim head coach, and South Carolina went up there, and I think it was Chris Smelly played, and it was just ugly, kind of a rainy day up there. Clemson bludgeoned South Carolina 34-17. That was the day that Dabo really got the job. But I don't know. I don't remember Jared Cook coming back. Does anybody remember in the last 10 years Jared Cook swinging by the university, being at a game? Maybe there's one or two. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, I think he's been back. I don't think it's a fractured relationship by any stretch of the imagination. I think when you play for 6 teams in the NFL, you're a pretty busy guy, and that's where he's been. Darian Stewart, another name that popped up from Mark, someone who lasted in the league longer than I expected. Yeah, a Super Bowl champ, another good example. That was as an undrafted free agent as well. Making your career in the NFL is always a good one. Captain Munnerlyn, Brian says he thought he would have had a better NFL career. Really?
What?
I think he was a maybe 6th round draft pick and hung around in the NFL for a long, long time. So it's always easy to go the other way. I feel like with guys that have a really good career and don't quite pan out in the NFL, I think it's only fair to bring up the other side of that thing. And Jared Cook, if he's not at the top of the list, he's got to be close from a Gamecock perspective, having a tremendous NFL career. And Anthony Harris hit us up on the YouTube live stream. Ryan Suckup is still playing. Yeah, not bad for Mr. Irrelevant, helping the Bucks win the other night up in New England.
Super Bowl champion Ryan Suckup.
Winning a Super Bowl last year, no doubt. 803-404-6100. Former Gamecock quarterback Perry Orth set to join us next here. Going to discuss what we saw just recently and going to break down this Carolina offense. Maybe Perry can help us understand exactly what Carolina's, if they're not doing, why they might not be doing it, or what they're trying to do to get going on offense. That's coming up next. It's the early game here on 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game is and free of charge. Free of charge. In your car. Free of charge. Online. Free of charge.
Ah, 2021 technology is king. Regardless of what you're doing, you want something with incredible technology, and with Zero Res and their ZR water that has its own name, that's exactly what you get when Zero Res comes to clean your carpet, your rugs, your tile, upholstery. They make it insanely clean. And fall being here, if you're like me, that means probably some better coffee, some pumpkin spice lattes. It means getting excited at the television and spilling said pumpkin spice latte. I need somebody that's going to keep my home clean, because I'd like other people to come and hang out with me, and I prefer they come and enjoy a nice, clean home. That's what I need. The carpets clean, the rug clean, the tiles, the hardwood floors. I call Zero Res, 803-262-4020. That's right. Zero Res helps keep my house in order. The floors looking fantastic. They'll do the same with you with their patent technology that uses high pH electrolyzed water, not harsh chemicals, and no sticky, soapy residue that is left behind that might embarrass you with your other friends that decide to stop by. You've always known Zero Res for strong water, but again, now they have water, ZR water, technology that is flat out incredible. Call Zero Res today to schedule a cleaning, 803-262-4020. Right now, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $119 when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. You'll also get a hallway cleaned for free. How about that? $75 of total savings. 803-262-4020. You can book online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Zero Res, spell it backwards, spell it forwards. It's the right way to clean. Oh, I did not realize that, RL. Jared Cook was it? Yeah, we know but Gilmore we knew was going to have a really good, or we thought, like, Gilmore's like there with Clowney. You thought he would have a really good career. He had a good career. Like, who's the most surprising? Cook's got to be one of the most surprising. Yeah, Gilmore's career is awesome, but he was a top 10 pick. That's like saying, like Troy Williamson would be the most disappointing. He was a top 10 pick, and I don't know, Tim. Did Troy Williamson last 3 years?
Yep.
But no one expected him to be a top 10 pick either, did they?
Holloman was a good player, but the injury, Holloman was good. Damiere Byrd, I would count in that group of being surprised. I don't remember enough about Willie Alford, but I feel like Willie Alford just magically appeared in the league one day and stuck around for a long time.
Dennis Daly starting from basically day one in Carolina is a little
And Waddy,
surprising.
I think, I don't know. I don't know what to think about this basketball team because there's so many newcomers. I have zero clue. I don't know. Good morning, Hope. I don't know. Mike Davis was a good running back. Running backs are kind of a dime a dozen. Again, Mike Davis had a 1,000-yard career at 1,000-yard year at South Carolina. It's Jared Cook's best stats. Let's look at Jared Cook's best season at South Carolina here. $73 receptions was a bit surprising for me to see for Jared Cook. All right, let's see. Jared Cook. Jared Cook was 2008. So Jared Cook in his final season had 37 receptions for 573 yards. Give me his college stats. Where are the college?
Did you see the Powerball got won by one person last night?
Show me the way to go. Oh, there we go. College stats. Jared Cook. 30 receptions in 2007 for 421 yards and 3 touchdowns. 37 receptions in 2008 for 573 yards, and he had 6 in 2006. I don't know, he also apparently had a forced fumble in 2008 playing defense. Huh. About that. Didn't see that one.
That would be an interception return, right?
Alan, I don't know what Bruce is doing these days. Last I saw, he did a workout with Colin Kaepernick over in Atlanta like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago. Was catching passes.
Perry's ready. Guys are up.
Second half of the program and doing it with one of our favorites on the Love Chevy phone line.
For joining us this morning. Perry, how are you, sir?
Yeah, what's your name?
I'm good. It sounds, by the sounds of it, I think I'm doing much better than you guys are.
That sounds about right. Well, yesterday it was an interesting conversation about how much optimism there is to have for Gamecock football for the rest of the year. 3-2, going to Tennessee, but taking on a Tennessee team that absolutely exploded offensively, and the Gamecocks kind of doing anything but on the offensive side of the football. Barry, what did you see specifically, I guess, against Troy over the weekend, and 5 games in now? Where are you with this new Shane Beamer, Marcus Satterfield Gamecock offense?
Well, I think that we threw the ball better, and we have gotten better in the past game. I think Luke's getting more comfortable back there. Luke played in a 4-wide, 5-wide offense in high school, wide open, throwing it all over the yard. So he feels very comfortable, and you can tell that he feels comfortable in that type of a system. Again, we don't get the push that we need in the run game to really provide balance, which means that you have to do I think the example I gave was like a baseball team that plays small ball. You have to manufacture runs, right? You got to get somebody on, you got to sacrifice bunt, and get a timely hit, right, to get a run in, and kind of do that on repeat. And it's looking like, 5 games in, I think we know who we are in the run game, and it's just unfortunately it's not what we hoped for. But I think there are other ways that we can get our playmakers with the ball in space besides just your simple inside zone and that kind of stuff. I think Juju McDowell has showed himself as somebody that can be a home run hitter. Josh Van has been beyond impressive so far this year. I would really like to see, and I know people love to say it, we'll get the tight end over the middle of the field, but I'd really like to see both Nick Muse and Jaheim Bell. I think Jaheim Bell, ever since the scrimmage I went to in August, and I was able to watch that kid catch and run and just watch him in uniform. He's a guy that you just have to get the football to, and it was great to see him catching the ball a little bit, and I'd like to see it happen a little bit more. I think we took some steps in the right direction. I really do, and I'm not just trying to be Mr. Politically correct here. But we definitely have a ways to go.
Perry, I think, you making jokes there to start about a better spot than us, but I feel like South Carolina fans are in one of two places, and being a former player, maybe you can help either side. I feel like there's one side right now that says, South Carolina, the offense through 5 games, we can improve this. Something can be improved, blocking or the run game. This is fixable to close out the back half of the schedule and have a chance to make a bowl. I think there's the other side who says, look, 5 games in, we are what we are. This is going to be South Carolina football in 2021. They can throw the ball. Luke Doty can throw it a little bit. Not sure he's ever going to be 100% healthy this year, but the run game is going to be non-existent. As a former player, when you get pretty much to the midway point of the season like this, and you're watching and seeing what you are, is it more difficult for this team to adjust and all of a sudden the light kind of come on? I'm not saying that they start running for 150 or 175 yards, but how difficult is it at this point when you've had spring ball, when you've had fall camp, when you've played 5 games, to all of a sudden adjust and become a team who has a competent running game?
Yeah, here's our only hope. That's a great question. Our only hope as far as the run game is that, and now this is coming from a fan's perspective, and somebody who's not in the meetings, our only hope is that we're still not completely getting it mentally, which is hindering our ability to go out and execute it on the field. If there's still room to be, to make corrections from a mental side, then there's hope. But if we understand what we're doing, we just simply don't have the guys to really push on the style of run that we have, or that Coach Satterfield likes to call, then we're, like I said, we're going to have to do different things. I think each week we're going to see Luke get better. That doesn't mean by the end of the season he's going to go 25 of 25. I mean, you also have to be realistic. But each week that I've seen Luke play, starting from Georgia to Kentucky to last week, I've seen him get better each and every game, just in different things: pocket awareness, mobility, accuracy, throwing the ball down the field, his timing of getting the ball out of his hand. We saw that he likes to throw the ball when he's on the move, when they're rolling the pocket. That's a great way to get, a cheap 5 yards. For whatever reason, this year I've noticed, and I don't want to sound like a football expert, but I like to watch defenses and I like to watch coverages. The last couple teams, and even ECU, that teams are playing really soft this year, and they're giving us the opportunity to throw the ball underneath. And I think that's where the tight ends come into play. I think that's where, like I just said, the manufacturing, the quick and easy passes, which are basically an extension of the run game. Because then when you get guys on defense creeped up, they start changing to one high and playing tighter coverage. Now you can take your shots down the field that everybody's kind of calling for. So I do think that there is hope, that we will get better. We got a lot of young players, and it is a brand new offense. And I'll tell you that going from Coach Spurrier's offense to Roper's offense, I didn't completely have it down pat in 5 games. Now, granted, I didn't get to finish the season. I was kind of done after the halfway point, but It does. It really, for whatever reason, for me at least, I can't speak for everybody. It took me a solid, full year in the system, and then going into the second year is when I was like, okay, if we get this look defensively, I know that this is where I'm going to the ball with this play, or I can check and get into this play that I feel will help our team succeed. So, patience is a word that football fans don't like to hear, but it's something that we're just going to have to learn to have, especially considering where we've been. I mean, we've won 6 games the last 2 years. It's not like, we're Kentucky. We got to take a step back and realize these kids not only are getting used to, running offense, they're getting used to in trying to become familiar how to win ball games. So let's be patient. Let's keep cheering our guys on, but they'll get there.
He's former Gamecock quarterback Perry Orth. Scott's got a question for you on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, Perry. Was or is the influence and presence of Mike Bobo the difference between last year's run game and this year's?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, he's great in the run game. He's always done a phenomenal job all the way going back to his Georgia days. Coach Bobo has a different type of run game than Coach Satterfield, where Coach Satterfield's more what he has shown more of an inside zone, outside zone, more of a zone blocking, kind of a philosophy where Coach Bobo had that as well, but he did some gap scheme stuff, and what that means, that's the powers and the counters where you're blocking down and pulling people, kind of blocking on edges a little bit, which seemed to our guys do better last year. And I'll say this too, I don't think that Kevin Harris is fully back. I mean, I've seen him run this year for a handful of games. He doesn't seem to have that same burst and that same kind of, that tenacity of running the ball. Having back surgery 2 months ago. So I think that's played a part too. But going back to your question, yeah, Coach Bobo had a lot of different varieties of the run game. And he's a good, hey, listen, as Gamecocks, we may not like his decision in the way that he left our program, but that doesn't change the fact that he's a good coach and he's great in the run game. And I know that's not what everybody wants to hear, but that's the truth. And so, he's good, and that's why we saw a lot of success on the ground last year.
With that in mind, let's go back to Marcus Satterfield's offense. 5 games in, from your perspective as a quarterback, and they're different quarterbacks. This team, this offense was built around Luke Doty, but you start with Zeb Nolan. How different is the offense that you saw against Eastern Illinois versus what you saw on Saturday against Troy? Now that you've kind of gotten your quarterback in, you mentioned it. It's only Luke's 4th start. It's his 5th game played when you factor a 6th game when you factor in Missouri last year and Georgia this year. But how different is this offense from your perspective? Is its evolution from when Marcus Satterfield started with Zeb Nolan versus what he's putting out there now?
It doesn't look all that different. Eastern Illinois was just, they shouldn't have been on the same field, to be honest. They weren't that great of a team. I don't think the offense is different. I think Zeb threw the ball really well that game too. And Zeb does throw the ball well. Luke also throws the ball really well. I really think that Luke has the chance to be one of the better quarterbacks we've ever had here. And I'll stand by that. At this age, the way that he does throw the football down the field, it's pretty impressive. But as far as offense philosophy and scheme and play calling, I don't see it, being that much different than what we saw in game 1. It's just different competition. When you line up and run inside zone, you're not getting 4 or 5 yards of pop, and you're getting kind of stalemated, and it puts you at 2nd and 10. Then you throw an incomplete pass or have another short run, and now it's 3rd and long, and now it makes it really easy for a defense at this level with the coaches that are coaching them to teach their defensive line to pin their ears back and go get the quarterback and drop 7 or 8 into coverage. And when you can get pressure with your 4 down or your 3 down while dropping 7 or 8 in coverage, it's tough for any quarterback, whether it's Tom Brady or Luke Doty or a high school kid.
And Tennessee has a new starting quarterback in Hendon Hooker, undisputed for the first time going into this South Carolina game on Saturday. I want to get former Gamecock quarterback Perry Orth's thoughts on the Tennessee offense that just absolutely exploded, what Josh Heupel has done. We'll do that when we come back. Craig pointing out on the Facebook live stream, I think pretty pertinently, that Tank Bigsby over there at Auburn for Mike Bobo has been stuffed the last couple of games. LSU last game, and Georgia State before then hasn't run for more than 60 yards in the last couple of games. something to note as we're comparing last year's Gamecock run offense to this year's. We'll do more of that with Perry Orth when we come right back. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Dan Patrick, weekdays 9 until noon on one.
Trust, belief, those are key things when you go to make a big purchase. You want to have trust in somebody, and at Love Chevrolet, you can always trust that incredible sales staff out there. But purchasing a car, it's a big purchase in your life. It's something that's probably going to help you get the kids to soccer, obviously to school, maybe to cheer, to football, baseball. It is a huge part of your everyday life. So when you go to make a vehicle purchase, you want to have trust in the dealership, in the salesperson. And that's exactly what you get at Love Chevrolet. A fantastic sales staff over there that will be honest with you, will walk you through the pros and cons of whatever vehicle you're looking. And at Love Chevrolet, with the 14 acres of brand new Chevys, but also a certified pre-owned lot that is second to none, you can find great deals across the lot. I mean, of course, you have the $1,000 low price guarantee, meaning you can go shop other dealerships, take their deal back to the folks that Love Chevrolet, and they'll top it. But again, 14 acres of brand new Chevys, the lowest price guaranteed, and a fantastic certified pre-owned lot. You're going to find the car or truck you've been looking for. And again, it all comes back to trust. You want to believe in the sales staff that's talking to you, that's helping you with your purchase, that's giving you the best deal possible. And at Love Chevrolet, that's why I go to them. I believe in the sales staff. I trust them. Whether it's Josh Putnell, whether it's Michael Corley, whomever it might be, I believe in those guys, and I go to them each and every time because I know they're going to take care of me and not steer me the wrong direction. That's why I encourage you to go visit Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, or you can visit them on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads. It's getting bright on the old live stream. We might have to turn it around here and give you a shot of this fat cheeks faced. About time to shave again. Kind of trim up the beard. Get ready for the weekend. It's only Tuesday though, so we're still long way to go. Yep. Sam, it is bright out there. There we go, right there. I just got to sit like this the entire time. Let's see if I can. No, this one, that way. Yep, there we go. Okay, good. No, further. Yep. It's pretty out there. Oh, I'm gonna fall out of the chair. It's a beautiful morning, and it feels good. Feels like a nice fall morning. We've decided to rewatch. It's Tuesday morning, so that means it's rewatch the game time here, which makes Patrick happy. I can start breaking down the game again.
I watched Squid Game, or I'm almost done Squid Game.
You're almost done with it?
Yep.
Yes or no? I've read what it was because I was a little bit too fascinated. Yes or no? Is it a must watch?
A must watch? No. With all the things that you haven't seen, I would not prioritize Squid Game.
If I tell you what is on my current viewing list that I'm going to get to it next week, you will literally drive over here and try and choke me. But I've decided I need to watch Usual Suspects.
You definitely need to watch Usual Suspects.
I think it's $3.99 on Amazon or something.
Yeah.
Well, Sonny, I don't mean I'm gonna like shave my beard. I just meant like trim it up. I'm not. I got a fat face. I need to show off these chipmunk cheeks all the time.
Well, I watched this Brenda's movie the day it came out. It was just okay.
What'd you say? Watched what?
The Many Saints of Newark.
Oh, you watched it? It was all right. Not
Nah, it
little
was just
underwhelming.
Yeah. Apparently David Chase wants to make a couple of those as Gandolfini's son gets older. Try and make a couple more.
Really? So go back. Squid Game, just odd or decent or?
Ugh, gross.
Did you watch it?
I saw about 2 minutes of it because my son said, "Yeah, check this out." I was like, "That's awful."
It's like very Hunger Games-esque, but like a little bit darker.
Ugh. I don't think I really want to know the mind of the person who writes for that because it's very dark.
He wrote it in 2008 when he was in a dark place and had watched a variety of movies of a similar ilk and came up with the idea. But then they didn't make it until 13 years later.
Ilk or ick?
Both.
Just
Hunger Games meets Willy Wonka.
Wow.
Okay.
I don't know where Willy Wonka comes into it. It is interesting though, because you think about like what you would do and how you would play it in those situations.
All right. Pat, you guys up. You're up. You're up.
Perry Orth, like this and like that and like this. Hope your Tuesday's going well. Why was Tennessee able to be so successful last week on offense, Perry? And what do you think of Josh Heupel and the Volunteers 5 games in?
I didn't watch a ton of the game, but the plays that I did see, they were really stretching the field. We're moving with big plays at a 91-yard touchdown run. It looks like they've got some firepower on offense. Now, I will say the defense is horrible. But this new quarterback came in. They're loaded in their quarterback room with transfers. He can really throw it, and he's a good athlete too. So we're going to have to keep him in the pocket. We're not going to be, I think a disaster would be letting this kid run around and plays outside of the pocket and kind of when plays break down. So I think the key to the game defensively is our front four getting pressure, and kind of, hitting the run this year. Tennessee to go out and drop 40 like Georgia did on us. I just don't see it happening. I would definitely take the under. I don't think the Gamecocks are a 12-point underdog. I think that's what they are now. I like our chances. I'm not going to sit here and be a homer and say that I guarantee we're going to win because I don't know, but I don't think that we're going to lose by 12. And actually, I actually think that we're going to win just based off of what I've seen defensively. And I'm very optimistic that there is going to be that moment this year where our offense does pop. And I'm praying that it's this Saturday.
Perry Orth, he's had a little bit of success there in Knoxville. I'm guessing relatively good memories. How do you remember Tennessee back in the day, Perry?
We actually, unfortunately, at Tennessee was not a good one. When I played there, we fumbled on the 15-yard line and lost by 3 going into score. So that was a pretty brutal memory. So hopefully my Gamecock
30
Saturday continue to get that nasty taste out of my mouth.
Maybe you can wash it out right there with what's going to go on this Saturday. Perry, as always, appreciate the insight. Jason, appreciate you calling for the win. Says, heck yeah, on the Facebook live stream. We'll do it again next Tuesday at 7:30 as well. Former Gamecock quarterback Perry Orth at Perry Orth 10 on Twitter, QB1athletics.com. You can check out his professional quarterback services. Hour number 3 coming up here on the early game.
Braves, the NFL with live local radio. 107.5 The Game, WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, a Cumulus media station.
Oh, a little more coffee.
Yeah, the C4 didn't really do it for me.
Okay, so this is where I do this tap dance routine, or like everybody disappeared.
No, you want to? Where did? Oh, Patrick left. Tim's.
I don't know.
I was gonna say you want to try and cut this sleep number real quick, or you want to wait?
Doesn't matter. I mean, we can since everybody's disappeared. I tell live stream people go get some coffee, go take a bathroom break.
That was your chance to talk about Bubba Wallace winning the.
I'm not real happy about that.
The rain shortened, whatchamacallit, Talladega.
Yeah, I don't like rain shortened stuff. I know it happens, but especially in playoffs, that's not my favorite thing. And I think it also puts an asterisk on his first win, because I think people will say, like, I hope he gets a win again soon for his sake, because if he doesn't, they're just gonna say that's the only way he can win. So that's my 2 cents, which is worth about half that.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Oh well, Patrick wandered off. Are we just leaving the live streamers to themselves?
I'm here.
All right, Patrick. We're gonna do a little bit of actual work real quick, if you don't mind.
Fine.
Yeah.
All right, let's catch up. Earl, did you finish Squid Game? I can see where you're coming from with the Oompa Loompas. Carting everybody out, basically. Wiping the floor. I don't really hate that. Trey asks on the text line, Parker White versus Elliott Fry, 1 kick to win. Who you taking? Yeah, it's a Korean show, but dubbed over in English. So if you're actually watching the people speak, their words will not at all match up with their mouths. But it is interesting. I think I saw that it was like the most viewed or most watched Netflix show. Yeah, Netflix. I thought it was 6 episodes at first, and then it was supposed to be 9. Then I found out it was 9, and I regretted starting it. No, I don't. It is also distracting to me. There's a couple of shows on Netflix that are really big that are dubbed. Money Heist is a Spanish movie show, something that I saw has a bunch of streaming records, and there's like a Viking-esque show called Ragnarok that's also dubbed, and I just can't watch any of them. It bothers me.
The Money Heist show wasn't very good.
I can't watch them because it's dubbed, and it bothers me. But for some reason, I just allowed it to happen for Squid Game. I don't know why. I don't know why I was okay with it.
Jacksonville coach Urban Meyer apologized to his family. He apologized to his team and staff on Monday. Meyer went viral over the weekend after a video surfaced of him dancing. Kicking off the second half of the
Whoa.
Well, you figured out. I have got to find, let's see here. Doing some actual work. Not quite as enjoyable as you would think.
Why was there a NASCAR race on a Monday night?
Monday afternoon, it rained. It rained Sunday in Alabama.
Did they race at all on Sunday, or did they do the whole race on Monday?
Well, it rained yesterday, but I think they finished. Jen couldn't answer this, but I think they were like 75 laps short, so they got most of it in. Some of it in, most of it in, something like that.
Are they what they are, or are you optimistic heading into Saturday? Gamecock football, Tennessee, this Saturday on Rocky Top. Didn't mean to bring up the bad memory. I thought it might be a little bit better for former Gamecock quarterback Perry Orth, who just joined us a little while ago, the bottom hour of hour number 2. Interesting thoughts, because I thought he played really well. We were talking about Jared Cook and what he was doing last night, catching touchdowns for the Chargers, the heck of the NFL career he's had. Someone asked on the live video chat, didn't he drop a pass against Tennessee? No, that was Jarrell Adams, I think, unfortunately dropped the pass that Perry Orth ended up throwing, and Sean Elliott and company went in there and I thought played the balls really well several years ago. Just couldn't quite come up with the win. Bill, what are you expecting from this team, this game on Saturday? Because I think it's a difficult thing to kind of project at this point, with both programs coming off of such different offensive performances, especially with Tennessee exploding against Missouri and the Gamecocks struggling a little bit against Troy.
I'm starting to feel like the offense is what it is. I'm rewatching the game again right now, the Troy game. There are good things. I asked Perry that question regarding how much different he sees the offense being. I know it's Zeb Noland, who is not known as a mobile quarterback, versus Luke Doty, who is much more mobile. I did like last week the rollouts, and as a matter of fact, they just showed where I'm at in the game was the rollout touchdown pass to E.J. Jenkins. I did like getting Luke Doty out on the perimeter and letting him run some and using him in that manner. I think that Marcus Satterfield is making some good decisions there with what he wants to do. Yes, there are things I would love to see him do differently. When you get a turnover, go deep. The old Spurrier mentality, or take your shot. And even late in the game, I think South Carolina could have been a little bit more aggressive to get the final touchdown. But at the same time, if you take a sack, you take yourself out of field goal range because you don't know what the offensive line is going to do, or you make a mistake, we're probably criticizing you even more. So with all that being said, I do think the offense has a chance to get a little bit better. But I'll tell you what else concerns me. And I don't know how you two feel about this. Chris Rodriguez ran for 140 yards. Last week, Troy had a running back run for 105 yards. That run defense has not exactly been a brick wall against the run right now. And Tyon Evans, I believe is how you say his name, Tyon Evans the former Hartsville standout, the junior college running back who committed to Tennessee. I know it was Missouri's defense, and right now Missouri's defensive line and stopping the run did not go hand in hand. But, guys, I think I'm just as concerned about South Carolina stopping the run this weekend as I am South Carolina being able to move the ball and put some points on the board.
They are what they are from Allen this morning, the exact opposite of Spiro Sparrow. While I breathe, I hope, from anonymous texter. I think that kind of sums up where Gamecock fans are, one of two camps. Scott says, I'll become more optimistic as soon as we cut out the boneheaded plays and we show some discipline. So you can be on either side of this thing. I guess maybe that one is somewhere in the middle, kind of have to see it before you believe it kind of deal. I think this is a classic representation. And, Patrick, you're always talking about the emotional roller coaster that Gamecock fans go on in the season. Tennessee fans have certainly are there, and then you might want to multiply that thing times a few few numbers there with where they've been through the years, the last decade or so with all their coaches. So how do they handle success, I think, is a big part of this. And do you believe, Patrick, that Hendon Hooker can be a guy to sustain success at anywhere close to the level that Tennessee had it last week against Mizzou?
I think that he is a large part of why the run game was successful. I actually don't know. Do we know anybody? Did they already look how many yards Hendon Hooker ran for in that game?
Do not have it right.
Because I know that he's Joe Milton. Do you have it, Bill?
I'll have it in just a
second.
Second.
Okay, so he ran for 80 yards. He ran for 80 yards and a touchdown. He does open things up for them in a way that Joe Milton is never going to be able to. Joe Milton's like 240 pounds or something like that, and he's got a really strong arm, but he's not athletic in that way that Hendon Hooker is. So that part does worry me. I know people always say that South Carolina has problems with running quarterbacks. I've heard that a million times when they've played Kentucky over the last few years, and I don't know if that's true, particularly for South Carolina or just every team, but it does concern me a little bit. I still just believe that last week you can't fake 458 yards on the ground, but I think it was so much about how bad Missouri's defense and particularly defensive line has been, not as much that Tennessee is just this juggernaut of a rushing attack. I don't know a ton about their offensive line, but I mean, I know their two best offensive linemen from last year are no longer there. Trey Smith is playing for the Chiefs and starting, and or is he a rookie? Did he opt out last year? And Wanya Morris is on Oklahoma now. So I don't know particularly, but I think Hendon Hooker probably helps. They scare me a little bit more with Hendon Hooker than they would with Joe Milton.
DC says we won't be able to score with UT. I think they cover. Hope says totally agree. And I got on Hope yesterday for having zero hope for the Gamecocks, or very little hope going into this one. Brett says fans are who they are. Some are glass half empty. Life's too short to not be optimistic. Go Cox. And then Alex on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Clayton White and his coaches on that side of the ball have done an outstanding job. Without the defensive turnaround we've had this year, we'd probably be 1-4 right now. The staff I'm more impressed with, though, is Luke Day and his strength staff, Alex says. Our guys continue to look fresh in the fourth quarter. Our soft tissue injury issues are basically gone. And Alex from Florence.
Come on, I hope you're knocking on wood right now, Alex from Florence.
About the injury deal. I don't know how you can't be ultimately impressed with the defensive side of what Clayton White and company have done for the Gamecocks, leading the league, leading the SEC in forced turnovers, amongst the national leaders in interceptions and turnovers forced and touchdowns scored on the defensive side of the ball. And Bill, I think Alex is right. Just think about if Carolina had not gotten that kind of performance out of its defense right now, what the record could be and how different the narrative would be right now after the first handful of games for Shane Beamer.
Yeah, it's certainly the East Carolina game, the massive Damani Staley interception that really changed the momentum in that game, and really holding Holton Ahlers to, I think it was about 150 yards passing, maybe less. And look, they held Kentucky Will Levis to 112 yards 2 weeks ago. So the defense has been good. I do think for South Carolina to be in this game in the fourth quarter, you're going to need to see another defensive turnover that it's a lot to say, hey, you got to get a defensive score, right? Like it is kind of crazy that what you've seen. Jordan Birch has had an interception return for a touchdown. Staley has had an interception return for a touchdown. David Spalding with an interception return for a touchdown. Am I leaving one? Jalen Foster had one that got called back, by the way. Am I leaving another one out?
I don't think so.
It's crazy.
Well,
to
Jamar
see
Brown
that.
had one that got called back as well.
Jamar Brown had a fumble that got called back. It's wild to say, okay, yeah, you need to have another defensive score. I do think you're going to have a turnover that sets up an easy field for South Carolina, and Marcus Satterfield's going to need to be creative and score a touchdown. I think you can. The key to this game is getting it to the fourth quarter to put a little bit of pressure on Tennessee and to have a chance to go on the road. You cannot. You go back to that game last week. The wildest stat I've ever seen in college football. Do you guys know at the end of the first quarter what the score was in the Tennessee-Missouri game and what the time of possession was? Have you heard this stat yet?
No,
this
I have not.
week?
Let's play a fun little guessing game. Patrick, you don't know this one either, right?
No, I did you see this on Twitter where it just showed like a screenshot of the box score after the first quarter? I feel like I saw that and it was absurd, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, they got it off of Twitter.
So you saw it at least, Patrick. I didn't see it at all. Let me take a random guess here. I'm thinking Tennessee had to have the ball for darn near the whole quarter, and it was something like 24-0. So I'm going to say 13 and a half minutes and 24-0. That's my guess.
That Tennessee had the ball?
Yep, completely blind. It sounds like I'm going to be exactly wrong. Exactly the opposite here. Patrick, what's your guess, having just seen it and not committed it to memory?
I was also going to guess that it was far in favor of Tennessee. I thought Missouri might have had like 2 or 3 minutes of possession and like 28-0.
All right, Bill. Dramatic answer, or are you still looking it up?
28-3 was the score at the end of the first quarter. Missouri had the ball for a little over 12 minutes.
Oh my!
So Tennessee was just gouging them.
Tennessee scored their first touchdown in 1 minute and 15 seconds. Their second touchdown took 1 minute 52. The third touchdown was one play, 92-yard run that took 12 seconds. And the fourth touchdown after an interception was one play, 1 yard, and 5 seconds.
Wow. Okay. So again, that shows you why time of possession can be the most overrated stat in football. That was the old Steve Spurrier mindset, I think. And explosives, right? That's all about explosives. What we've heard around Gamecock football for probably too much, and kind of the wrong context of why there aren't more explosive plays on offense. So with that formula that Tennessee obviously used, explosive plays to dominate the football game, then to run the ball a bunch. How do you feel like the matchup sets up on paper? Why don't we think about that and get out to the Love Chevy phone lines? William, I think, would like to weigh in on that as well. The big Carolina and Tennessee game coming up on Saturday. Morning, William.
Morning. Yeah, I just wanted to get your all's thoughts on this. Y'all been talking about this the last 2 days, I think, about how this game just lays up perfectly because of how Tennessee played so well last week, which is correct. But then if you look at their next 4 games, they have Ole Miss, Alabama, Kentucky, and Georgia. So they're probably thinking, okay, South Carolina, it's another get-right game, and then let's go see what we can do in these next 4 games. And do I think we're going to win? No. But, I mean, do I think it could be a game in the fourth quarter where you get those Tennessee fans and they start getting restless and booing, and it's kind of like Carolina baseball with Holbrook, and the fans would just start to turn on the team, and the away team would capitalize and win games. And I mean, it's a game that you could win if that makes sense.
Absolutely makes sense, William. I think he's talking about kind of how I put it yesterday, guys. If I had to draw it up perfectly for a game and the way that college football kind of goes up and down, that you would have Tennessee playing really, really well on offense the week before and being talked up and the whole thing, and South Carolina kind of on the opposite, where questions around the offense especially, and you have a win, but an ugly win, kind of a definition of ugly win on an opponent that you were supposed to beat, and your own fan base isn't necessarily pleased and telling its team how great it is. So that's, I think, what William was touching on there, Bill. What do you think about how both of these teams come into this game, projecting what you're going to see?
Well, it's crazy. I forget, somebody called in, or maybe we had a guest on last week, and they just made a comment that was in regards to the point spread. And it's like, well, it depends on how this team plays this week and how that team plays this week, and that can factor in. Again, I thought it happened on our show. Maybe it didn't. Tennessee couldn't look any better last week, right? Like, I don't know if people are fully aware of the stats. Last week against Missouri, an SEC opponent that Missouri was favored in that game by 2 points. I think at game time it was 2. I think it was 2.5 early Saturday morning. Noon game, a Missouri team that, look, I appear to be very, very wrong on. I was pretty high on going into the season. I liked Eli Drinkowitz. I like Connor Baselick. Last week, Tennessee goes for 683 total yards. 683. They pass for 225. They run for 458. Missouri wasn't exactly awful offensively. They had 396 total yards. They did have 2 turnovers that were big in that game, 2 interceptions thrown. Tennessee ran it 59 times last week. They only threw it 19. 15 of 19 is what they were in the passing game. The bottom line is, to me, I don't know if Tennessee's that good. Again, we kind of went over their schedule a little bit earlier. Your 2 wins going into last week was Bowling Green, who is not supposed to be very good, but they do have a win over Minnesota and Tennessee Tech. And then you've got a loss at home to Pittsburgh, in which Tennessee committed 13 penalties in that game. South Carolina fans have talked about their team making mistakes. Tennessee, and that loss to Pittsburgh, had 13 penalties for 134 yards. And then you got a loss to Florida, which Tennessee did put up some yardage in that game. They went over 400 yards of total offense. It sets up for a Tennessee team that, to me, Patrick, I forget if you bought, sold, or held Tennessee, that's playing a little bit better than we gave them credit for in the preseason.
I don't think we got the official stock report on Tennessee. Maybe we did.
No, I sold Tennessee.
Okay.
But also, I think because I look at the number, that was 6.5. That was their win total. And I think we all went under on that. I think we on this show, or we in this fan base, were lower than the national perspective of Tennessee was, because we were looking at it like they lost 20 transfers. That program's in shambles right now, and I think the national narrative is always going to be a little bit more generous to Tennessee just because of the brand that Tennessee football is.
I think the transfer number is actually closer to 40, Patrick.
40? Yeah, whatever. Yeah, okay. Even worse.
Mind-blowing number. But to William's point, looking at the Tennessee schedule, I think it's worth, again, listening to the next 4 games after Carolina, because I mentioned the emotional roller coaster, Patrick, and Tennessee would be on the wildest swing possible, I think, if they go from scoring 14 points and getting blown out against Florida, especially in the second half, lose by 24. Explode for 62 points on the road at Missouri. And so now they're obviously riding high. They feel like they have their starting quarterback in Hendon Hooker. And Josh Heupel seems to be a good hire. Trent Dilfer's talking him up as being a genius recruiter and the whole thing. But now if South Carolina comes in, after struggling to get to 3-2, and that's what the Gamecocks have done. They've struggled well. They pulled out wins against East Carolina and Troy, certainly not in dominating fashion. And the Eastern Illinois game kind of is what it is. Lost to 2 good teams in Georgia and Kentucky. Didn't really compete against Georgia, which no one has this year, and at least scored some points again against them, which is something. And then could have very well beaten Kentucky, now the 16th ranked team in the country. But that being said, when you have Ole Miss, Alabama, Kentucky, and Georgia as your next 4 games on the Tennessee schedule, they lose to South Carolina, and man, the bottom drops out of Josh Heupel and company real quick. It's a very important game for both coaching staffs, but I think it's real easy to make the case, Bill, that it is much more important to Tennessee at this point than it is to South Carolina. Am I missing something? Because Vanderbilt is coming out right up after Tennessee for the Gamecocks, and what Vanderbilt is this year, you assume it's a relatively, it's going to be the last time Carolina's going to be favored in a game this season. Let's just put it that way.
Do you guys, you remember, season started late. Do you guys remember where Tennessee was on October 5th last year?
Were they at Williams-Brice Stadium?
You want to take a guess? No.
That wasn't the first game of the year?
No. September 26th.
So that was week 2, are you
Tennessee,
telling me, after
Tennessee
2 weeks?
was after 2 weeks. Tennessee was 2-0. They had
Did
just
they
beaten
lose to
Missouri
Vanderbilt?
at home. No, they had just beaten Missouri 35-12 to play. They were 2-0. I think they'd won something like 7 straight games. Remember, they had like the longest win streak in the SEC
Right,
or something
that's right,
ridiculous.
Oh yeah, because they ended on a high note after losing to
and they were-
BYU.
so are you telling me they were up on Alabama or they were tied with Alabama? Is that what you're saying? Is that where we were at last year?
They were going to play Georgia, and game day was there in Athens. But going and remember, Tennessee was back this time last year. You remember, season started late. September 26th was the game against South Carolina. They won that game. Then they thumped Missouri again. I didn't really put 2 and 2 together. Beat the tar out of Missouri last year, 35-12 in Knoxville, and they were number 14 in the country going to Athens last year. At this point, this was a Monday, obviously. So it was a Monday after the Missouri game. But remember, Jeremy Pruitt was the guy. He had signed the extension the Friday or the Thursday before the South Carolina game. They were on some kind of ridiculous, I think it was 7 or 8 game win streak. They'd won the bowl game the year before under Pruitt. Everybody said Tennessee was back. Again, they were number 14 in the country. And then the bottom fell out. And it's just, here they sit again. And Tim, you mentioned that schedule. You get this game against South Carolina, and after that, Mississippi, Alabama, Kentucky, Georgia. Then you get the Fighting Jake Bentleys of South Alabama. Just interesting to see. To me, that's why I've circled this game, this Tennessee game for South Carolina, because I still feel like these two teams, despite Tennessee putting up 62 last week, it's an interesting game for the direction of both teams here in year one under brand new coaches.
Well,
yeah, I think it's just a matter of, do you believe in a letdown spot after an emotional high, which is just like a classic football trope, or also the look ahead trap game? Like, it's both of those things for Tennessee at the same time. That's why I think, as a South Carolina fan, I feel pretty good about Tennessee kind of sleepwalking through this game when they've got number 17 in the country, one of the Heisman frontrunners, coming to Knoxville for a 7:30 game next week.
Just for the record, Tennessee had won 8 straight games this time last year. It had started with an October 26th victory over South Carolina in Knoxville. They had won 5 straight to finish out the regular season. They had beaten Indiana in the bowl game, and they had won, given the schedule last year, they had won 6 straight SEC games at this point last year. Jeremy Pruitt was the savior. A few months later, Jeremy Pruitt was no one.
I think one sports talk radio show host called Jarrett Garantano, maybe the second best quarterback in the conference.
Yeah.
At this point,
it was.
And another one called him the worst quarterback in the conference.
The Pruitt regime just brought him down. Just clearly, selling McDonald's bags to players than coaching up your quarterback. Garantano would throw for 215 yards against Georgia, and put them in a position to win. The rest of the team let him down.
Solid perspective there from Bill Gunter, taking us back a little bit less than a year ago. Man, how things have changed, and then the Rocky Top roller coaster is in full effect for sure. We'll continue to discuss, especially from the Gamecock perspective, as we roll on. Love to hear more from you. 803-404-6100. It's the early game here on 107.5.
Live, local, and free. It's how we do sports. 107.5.
Oh, you can definitely complain about some of our hot takes. You might want to call and yell at me about the Jarrett Garantano take last year, or you can do like everyone else did, except for Tim Hill, and forget about it. I would appreciate that. One thing you cannot complain about right now is the excellent mortgage market conditions that continue to stabilize and provide excellent opportunities for home buyers across the country. And that's why now is the time to get in touch with Buford Lending and Benji Getzy. 843-524-2404. If you have recently purchased your home in the last 3 or 4 years and have PMI mortgage insurance, now is the time to refinance and take advantage of your increased equity and the record rates. So what are you waiting for? Give Benji Getzy a call. That's all he asks. He just wants a chance. He will do a free evaluation anytime, day or night. So you're sitting there thinking I got 10 minutes today. Let me call Benji Getsy. Let me call Buford Lending and see what we can do, what my options are. 843-524-2404. The refinancing opportunities are saving clients an average of $300 to $500 per month. Imagine being able to save that $300 to $500 a month. That's a whole lot of pumpkin spice lattes you can have each and every day or throughout the month, or you can put the money elsewhere. You probably want to put it elsewhere. Whatever you do, call Benji Getsy and Buford Lending today. 843-524-2404. That's Benji Getsy with Buford Lending. That's right, Troy. The pumpkin spice lattes. It's that time of the year. Might have to go get me one this one. I've been on the black coffee kick. I'm trying to be healthy. Trying to do the healthy thing.
There, Monticello Road at Hayward Brockington Road, an accident. And traffic lights currently malfunctioning. Piney Grove Road at I-26. So certainly approach that intersection with caution. Weather-wise, storms around today, scattered storms tomorrow, scattered showers possible on Thursday. So keep an umbrella handy for the next few days. 83 for today's high, right now 68 at 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by the Blue Cross and Blue Shield.
Patrick, I was for last night, for some reason I was rewatching. It just popped up on something I was looking at. Our discussion from the other day, and we were looking at the ham sliders. I was listening to your ham sliders.
I made them.
I know you said you made them. You got a plan for the tailgating this weekend, especially with it being an away game?
No, the home away makes no difference to me. It's always a home game in my house.
Makes sense.
No, I don't know what I'm going to make. I mean, I bought a lot of food last weekend and didn't end up making a lot of it. So I have some stuff in the fridge at the moment.
Got some leftovers?
Yeah, the noon game does change things because I'll probably try and get home Saturday morning and sleep for a couple hours and then just wake up and drink coffee for the South Carolina game.
Yeah,
Or
that's a
just
good
stay
idea
up
to
and then
make
go.
those.
Yeah, DC, we went Black Rifle coffee. So I think, and it's actually not bad. We got the variety pack. Got all kinds. I can't remember which one I'm drinking this morning. But it's not bad. It's not bad.
One that tastes like shoe leather, one that tastes like a car tire, one that tastes like pavement.
Well, y'all made fun of me a while back when I was talking about it, but there is I can tell a significant difference between what I would say is supposed to be black coffee, like the Phil Mickelson coffee for wellness, and the Black Rifle versus like that hazelnut cream black coffee. There's a massive.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I can taste the difference.
You saying you can taste the difference between flavored coffee and regular black coffee?
Well, it's a bitterness. It's to me, it's an extreme, almost nasty bitterness, if that makes sense.
Okay.
For regular black coffee?
No, for like flavored black coffee, or for like right now, I think I've got butter pecan or southern something.
Okay.
That I would put with creamer.
So if they're making it a flavored coffee, are they not making it as mild of a coffee because they're covering it up? I
have no idea.
Yeah, because it seems strange for it to be bitter if there's flavorings to it.
Yeah,
I'm not an aficionado.
Don't know, but I do know again. There is like and you're right, Patrick, when I say obviously a flavor coffee, but I mean there's a bitterness, a strong, much stronger bitterness.
Maybe you're drinking bad flavored coffees.
There is that possibility as well.
Ooh, pigs in a blanket would be good. I do love pigs in a blanket.
Pigs in a blanket?
Yeah.
Honey and brown sugar. I've never done that.
Me neither. I like pigs in a blanket just the way they are. Yeah, I mean, the South Carolina game is going to be more of a breakfast game for me. So maybe I'll just get some
breakfast quiche. Are we thinking breakfast type quiche?
Maybe, but I'm probably going to wake up, try to go to sleep, and wake up at like 11:45. So I might just have donuts at the ready for coffee and donuts. Coffee and donuts during the game. And then
my kids got embarrassed because Saturday night we were coming back from the game, and we went through the Krispy Kreme right here in Lexington, and literally it was only like 8 o'clock. Like it wasn't like 10:30 or right before they closed. Every donut we went to order. So like chocolate ice cream filled, didn't have it. Strawberry glazed, didn't have it. Chocolate glazed with sprinkles, didn't have it.
Wow.
So basically we ended up, they're donuts or donuts. We ended up finding 12 that we liked. And the kids got embarrassed that I basically asked for the regular the discount or the glazed, because it's like $8 for a 12-pack of glazed. It's 12 for assorted. And I was like, come on now, y'all gotta have. My daughter thought it was my daughter thought I was an idiot.
I love
It kind of bums me out that we don't have like a proper donut shop in Columbia.
You've got that donuts over there by you, don't you?
Yeah, but that's not a donut. That's like cake donuts, and they're like all drizzled and stuff.
We're actually
Like,
back in, but we'll have to debate this more. That's right.
How do you see it going down? I think is, again, Bill, I feel like we've said this a lot through the years. How you see Gamecock football, it sometimes is more of what kind of outlook you have on life and how you're seeing, reading the tea leaves as opposed to what's exactly happening. I think this is maybe the first time this year that we've gotten to a game like this, because Kentucky came in, I guess the spread wasn't even as high, but playing pretty well. And I think a win there was important for Carolina football, but you knew what you had left in a four-game stretch with Troy, Tennessee, and Vandy following. You do have Vandy following this Tennessee game, but if you're going to get bowl eligible, it is a massively important game. And it's been brought up a little bit in our live chat and on the text line how important it is for both of these teams, Tennessee and Carolina, to win, both sitting at 3-2, if there are bowl game plans in their futures.
You're right. We've talked about Tennessee's schedule, but I really did not look that far ahead with their schedule. So they're at 3 wins right now, and you kind of think South Alabama and Vanderbilt should be 4 and 5. So you're exactly right. They'd have to pull an upset in a game. They would, if they lose to South Carolina, they'd have to pull an upset in 4 games where they're not favored. So that's a good point on Tennessee looking at this game with bowl importance, just like South Carolina is. Those 4 games that we just mentioned, Mississippi next weekend in Knoxville, Alabama on the road, Kentucky on the road, and Georgia.
And Bill, I want to stop you there
13th.
briefly because of what you just brought up last segment, that less than a year ago, right about a year ago, you mentioned it was October 5th last year. So exactly a year ago, as I look at my calendar and double check today, is actually October 5th. Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Ranked number 14 in the country this time last year. South Carolina hasn't been ranked since 2018. So the fall was quick and hard for Jeremy Pruitt and company, and I guess maybe made a little bit softer if he landed on some McDonald's bags. Then you got 40 transfers added to that with the cloud of possible NCAA sanctions hanging over them. So from that standpoint, what's gone down at Tennessee here in the last 365 days is much more dramatic than the I don't even know how to put it right now, the end of the Will Muschamp era. I guess you could call it a collapse, or the ugliness, let's go with what happened to the Carolina program and then Shane Beamer coming in, because the hire of Josh Heupel not necessarily met with a 100% approval rating amongst the Tennessee fan base and the whole deal. And now they've clearly hit the high point of Josh Heupel's tenure last week. So I think you factor all of that in, and man, it is going to be quite the scene in Rocky Top on Saturday if Carolina can have some success. And to William, our caller's point a little bit earlier, Bill, you've been to Knoxville multiple times, as have I. That fan base is rabid. And I say that not necessarily complimentary, because having seen South Carolina pull off their first win there in, 04 when Josh Brown made that kick, and I think it might have been 05. Having seen it through the years, especially through the South Carolina lens, Tennessee does not take losing to South Carolina very well. If it were to happen on Saturday, I think it would just be the latest chapter. And I think a lot of Tennessee fans would throw up their hands and say, hey, everything we just had hoped Josh Heupel would be, he is not going to be, based off of one game on Saturday afternoon against Shane Beamer and company, which doesn't have any kind of buzz like Tennessee does coming off of the Saturday.
Well, no, you're right about at least through 5 games, the high point of the Josh Heupel era. And they love the speed at which Josh Heupel is playing with. And that's another, we talk about stopping the run as we go through the rest of the week, and the South Carolina defense. South Carolina defense, they were overmatched against Georgia. I mean, the South Carolina defense is certainly playing much better, but they were overmatched. This is a great test to know what exactly South Carolina's defense is against a good, not great SEC offense. You feel like if you can slow down Tennessee, you kind of look at Texas A&M, you look at Missouri. I don't know what Florida is right now because they were running the ball fantastic.
Don't you kind of think if you can slow down Kentucky like South Carolina did, then you can slow down Tennessee, though?
No, because
Kentucky was a good test.
But Patrick, did you see Kentucky's offensive output? Do you know how many total yards Kentucky had against Florida last week?
No, but this is after the fact.
You want to take a guess on total yards?
Probably very low then.
I'll go 222 based off of what you're saying.
I was going to say 270.
The exact number, Tim, is much closer. I clicked on that at a link. I don't know. It would have. The total yards last year, Tim, what'd you say?
Last week. 222.
Last week. What a guess. 224. 87 yards passing and 137 yards rushing. This Kentucky team is winning the old school Kentucky way. Run the football and play a little bit defense. They were outgained last week 382 to 224. They were 1 of 9 on third downs as well. This Tennessee offense is better than Kentucky. And you get them on the road. I think it's a great matchup to see Clayton White and this defense, which has been I don't even know how to explain how much better they've been going into the season than probably what we thought they would be, right? Like, I'm not saying they've been perfect. Please understand. I'm not saying that they've been perfect, but compared to what we thought they might be, tremendous, right?
Yeah, no doubt on the defensive side of things. And how many plays can they make against Tennessee? Bill, I wanted to fight you on what you said about the Tennessee offense, but looking back, you're right, man. Josh Heupel has proven he brought the reputation with him. And it's crazy how much impact a coach can have like this. They scored 38 points in their opener. It was Bowling Green, but then they scored 34 points in that game against Pitt, which seems to be, I mean, a lot of people think they're the best team in the ACC right now. 56 points against Tennessee Tech, be that what it is, just 14 against Florida. So that's where I wanted to start my fight against you. But then you put up 62 points against Missouri through 5 games this year. The Tennessee offense has been pretty good. And that is kind of back and forth between quarterbacks as well. That was with Joe Milton as their starting quarterback to start the season, and now Hendon Hooker clearly is their guy. I think that's the main concern for Gamecock fans who hit us up, and one of them did it. DJ started with "Good morning, everyone," and then I really hope I'm wrong, but I don't see a win this weekend. Carolina can't block well enough to run clock and run the football. They can't score enough to win a shootout, even if the defense can help Tennessee or can keep Tennessee to, say, 24 points. Carolina can't even score that much. Again, I hope I'm wrong and go Cox. I think that's pretty solid analysis at this point from DJ 5 games in. The question will be, will Saturday follow the script, or will we see something kind of out of character from the Gamecocks, what we haven't seen in the first handful of games, as opposed to what we've seen already from Tennessee? They've proven they can score points. I think Mark's got a great point, Bill. And what do you think? Does Tennessee hate losing to us more than we hate losing to Kentucky? Mark, being a Gamecock fan, asking that question.
That's a good question because the series has been, Tim, you and I watching this series in the 90s and really until Spurrier came around. So the first 14 years, I mean, it was all Tennessee except for 92. And then it's changed. It's changed since it changed dramatically when Steve Spurrier arrived. And this has been, I mean, really for the last 20 years now since Lou Holtz could never beat them. But it has been an extremely close series, which is insane. You get some great games out of this. But I don't know how the Tennessee fan base necessarily feels about South Carolina here as I go back. I mean, the last 11 games, South Carolina is 6-5 against Tennessee. So from 2010 through last year, South Carolina's got a three. The South Carolina won 3 straight. Tennessee won 3 straight. South Carolina won 3 straight, and Tennessee's won 2 straight. It's crazy to look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The last 9 games, 8 of them have been decided by single digits. Tim, it's the most competitive series South Carolina probably has in the SEC. Don't you agree?
No doubt. And we talked about this thing going in last year. It's crazy to me how much this game has changed since the season opener last year for both teams. So while we're saying it's so important for both teams this year, last year's game, we saw the win wasn't even anywhere close enough to help Jeremy Pruitt keep his job after the collapse towards the end of the season and all the stuff that went down. And
real quick,
go ahead.
Go with me on this real quick. As I look at the numbers on how close this is, I've got the last 8 games, and Tim, Patrick, you can get into this a little bit, but a little bit before your time. Going back to 2012, I believe 2015 was Muschamp's first year, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? No, 2015. 2015 was Sean Elliott. That's the one Perry Orth was talking about. The Jarrell Adams unfortunately fumbled down around the 2016 was Muschamp's year. But if I look at this correctly, 2012 was decided on the final possession with a Jadeveon Clowney sack of Tyler Bray. 2013 was decided on the field goal at the end of the game.
For Tennessee.
2014 was decided. Yep, that was in Tennessee. That was the Marquez North play, and then the field goal. 2014 was decided in overtime on a field goal. 2015 was decided within the final minute on a fumble inside the 20. 2016 was the Muschamp game. South Carolina won 24-21.
That was the one in Knoxville?
No, that was the next year that again was decided on the final
plays,
series.
Yeah, from the 1 yard line.
15-9 was
Yep.
that final score.
15-9.
Jarrett Garantano's first start. That was the game I was at.
2018, it's got South Carolina winning 27-24. I think that was a very close game. Tennessee, actually, that was Pruitt's first year. I don't remember the end of that game. And then you got 41-21. And then you got last year 31-27 that, again, is decided with a turnover in the final 2 minutes when the ball hits Cam Smith's foot. I mean, this game's come down to really the final possession in, 6 of the last 8 years?
Right. And, again, with that going in last year, we talked about how important it was for the Gamecocks and to set the tone of the season. And Tennessee set the right tone. Carolina did not. And, obviously, it kind of led both teams in opposite directions to start. You were talking about a year ago, Tennessee ranked number 14 and the longest SEC win streak in the conference. And then it fell off the table a little bit. Now Tennessee fan base back up again right before the South Carolina game with, I think, Gamecock fans very even keel at best right now, even though they're 3-2 with the lack of offensive identity and production. Speaking of that, we'll hear from Shane Beamer. Weekly press conference coming up today at 1:15. As usual, we'll have it live for you right here on 107.5 The Game. Right now, we need to take our final break of the program. Love to hear a little bit more from you and the dramatic conclusion of the show. That's coming up next, 803-404-6100. If you would like to get in a final word, it's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
This is Gamecock basketball head coach Frank Martin, and you're listening to 107.
That time of the year, the weather is changing Fall is here. I think it's mid 80s today, but winter is around the corner, and now is the time. Don't wait until it's too cold. Get your heating and air unit inspected today. It's the time to do it. Call AAA Heating and Air 803-677-1500, a family-run company by Roy and Dana Finley. They will get their team out to your house and do an inspection on your heating and air unit to make sure everything is working properly. The worst thing you can do is wait till it goes out. Then you got some unhappy family members, and then you're waiting around for somebody to show up. Go ahead and get that unit inspected today. If there's an issue, AAA Heating and Air, make sure that you're taken care of. What they do is offer you a $1,500 rebate if they need to buy back your old unit. That's a great start. Then if you qualify, 0% financing, no money down on a brand new unit. So you already start by saving money. And the best part to me, AAA Heating and Air, they're not going anywhere. They're going to be right there to make sure it continues to work because they offer you a 15-year parts and labor warranty. You hear me talk about it every morning. It's a family-run company. It's one that I believe in and trust with my heating and air unit out here where I live. I encourage you to do the same. 803-677-1500. Again, now is the time of the year to get someone to your house and get that heating and air unit inspected to make sure there are no issues, no leaks, nothing that can cause a problem when it matters the most. 803-677-1500. Call AAA Heating and Air today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. Tennessee was ranked in the 2016 game. 2018, Tennessee was that was Pruitt's first year. They actually played a good game up here in Columbia.
Oh yeah, donut talk, donut shop.
Yeah, what do you got? You went down a path there that.
Oh man, you gotta.
Well, yeah, I was talking about. I mean, I love Krispy Kreme. It's great. Krispy Kreme's great. I don't mind Dunkin' Donuts. I get Circle K donuts a lot too. They're all fine, but I'm talking about like I'm pulling up the place that I went to when I was in Greenville last weekend. You know, just a home. No, not a stand. It's a store. This is the place I went. This is what it looks like inside. You know, like let's load. A nice little counter where you can get like let's see if I can get a close up of the
like an old fashioned bakery.
Yeah, but it's all donuts. You can get like apple fritters, dairy cream, cinnamon twist, this and that. I mean, Duck Donuts are good, but that's a cake donut that they just put through the thing and drizzle it and drench it in chocolate sauce or peanut butter or whatever.
We have a place in my hometown called Pearson's Bakery. Same concept, donuts, you know, like fritters, Long Johns.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of
Exactly.
thing. You don't see those down here that much, do you? Long Johns.
There's none. There's really there's not a place to get that stuff.
Do you know where those are, Bill?
The what?
A Long John? Wow.
No.
I wonder if I could bring some back and they'd be fresh and out. Well, I'm flying.
Or like a lobster claw. Those are really good too.
With a Long John, I have to like either just eat the top or like I'll cut the thing in half. It's a long donut, like a and then
they
it
have
just
them.
has frosting on top.
They do actually have them in Circle K's.
Oh, okay.
But they're not. They're okay. I mean, I don't mind Circle K donuts. I think they're pretty good. But
yeah,
just like the other classic staple of the local bakery is a pink box. Comes in a pink box. The Donut King documentary on Hulu is pretty cool.
Really?
And if the place has a giant donut on the top, that is also preferable.
Right. Let's see.
So do we have one of those around here that anybody can recommend what Patrick's talking about? Do we have is that a bakery basically? Are you basically describing a bakery?
To me, that's
Sort
more
of,
of a
but
bakery.
Yeah, but it's like literally just a donut shop. That's why I was so happy 2 weeks ago in Greenville, where I found exactly what I've been looking for. Just like I got a dozen donuts. I got a long cinnamon twist, an apple fritter, a couple stuffed donuts, a couple sprinkled donuts, and yeah, I don't think we have any.
It's a little different. I know what you're talking about. They'd go to the get crullers.
Yeah, crullers. Yeah, a couple of those.
I mean, I know like Dunkin' has those, but
yeah, that's all we have really is Krispy Kreme, Dunkin', and then Duck Donuts.
Oh, you got Chicken Butt up in Chapin. Got to give them some love.
That I've heard of that, and I've never been there. That's kind of a haul, but
it is if you're not in that vicinity. But
yeah,
they don't.
Is that could be exactly what I'm thinking of. Yeah, yes, this is the type of place that I'm thinking of. I think. Yes, Chicken
Jim,
Butt.
have you ever heard of the Blended Bakery?
Yeah.
Chicken Butt's precisely what I mean.
Not a fan. All right, we're heading back.
Murray's in.
I'm just looking for donuts now. Great. There goes my day.
Murray's Donuts, also exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh.
That place looks great.
I don't know if Patrick's ever been more engaged.
I've been looking for this for a while. Yeah.
Today,
I want a non-Dunkin' or Krispy Kreme donut shop. That's what I want. Or Duck Donuts. No, thank you.
Yeah, you guys are just making everybody hungry this morning. What about the idea? And someone took a shot that Josh Heupel knows where a good donut shop is. That's just rude.
I guarantee he knows where a good donut shop is. That's not even
unnecessary.
A shot. That's just a fact.
Right. That's a good point. True.
But he's going to take the stairs up to his office when he gets back.
What about the idea that some teams match up well with other teams? Clearly, Bill, you went over the results of Tennessee the last couple of years against Missouri. That's been a really good matchup. And the matchup between Carolina and Tennessee has been a really close matchup through the years. But this is two different coaching staffs. And I think it's really fascinating that Marcus Satterfield has a ton of Tennessee experience in the state. Shane Beamer and Marcus Satterfield kind of met there at the University of Tennessee with GAs back in the day. And do you think there might be a little bit extra something here from the Gamecock coaching staff as it pertains to this weekend's matchup?
I mean, I hope not. I hope it's not something we're like, all right, we're back in Tennessee. Maybe we should call up a few better ball plays and get the team a little bit more motivated. There's a lot on this line. Tennessee and South Carolina typically are in some way locked in a recruiting battle for different prospects in the state of Georgia or in the Charlotte or North Carolina area. Certainly it's a contest to kind of continue to climb up the SEC East. It's a battle of first-year coaches. I hope it's not Satterfield and Beamer going, remember when we met as GAs at Tennessee or coaching here? Hopefully they're fired up enough on their own because it's a big game.
45.
The next game is a big game. Did you just give me that Muschamp speech right there?
Every game's a big game. Every game's the Super Bowl.
The biggest game of the year is the next game.
Stick your face in the fan.
And learn to like it.
1 week Super Bowl.
30.
That's what we got going. I'm just simply saying that the matchups between certain coaches are fascinating. Sometimes you just match up well. Will be interesting to see how this one goes now that you have two brand new coaching staff. I'm interested to hear what Shane Beamer's got to say about it today. Again, 1:15, his weekly press conference live on 107.5 The Game. This has been live, so you can say that. Thanks for listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. Dan Patrick Show coming up live next.
Home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station.
Attorney Joe Cordell. New school, new job, new home. Change is hard and can leave you feeling isolated. And
I can't hear him.
All right, everybody. Off to go find donuts and report back. You all have homework today.
Yes.
Very important jobs.
Report back and let us know what the donut situation out there is.
Yeah.